go right. You can go forward, but never ever back. Yeah. Just woke up.
I ain't feeling your side. King Chaka ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? KCE, King Chaka.
You're on that back for just a second, y'all. Give me 1 second.
And now, another
Yeah.
major production.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you what the real is. Deep down inside, you got to feel it. Emotions have the most number of killings. Pay close attention to your feelings. I'm about to tell you what the deal is. And when I'm talking, all I'm hearing is some crickets. Yeah, hurry, honey, run and get your ticket. Just getting money is not always the business. Yeah, forget the $1 million mission. Sometimes I just want to go fishing instead of physically grinding in the trenches. Finding me using my knowledge, intuition. Yes. Yeah, Chaka not talking while he's so distant. Yeah, Chaka be talking but they don't listen. Yeah, he's sitting, his brain pumping like a piston. I've been chasing the twilight, now I've been bitten. The city's in my sights as if I was a pigeon. Your role is cast. Your dialogue is written, it's past control. You're like a Sims minion, what to do now but roam around.
All right. I'm here, y'all. Apologies. It's one of them days. A lot of shit going on. And I'm late. I apologize to the regular listeners. I'm here now. Let me check something. I'm here now. Okay. All right, so I'm here. Let me breathe. Okay, the name of the show today is The Future of Education. Future of Education. So, what does that mean to y'all? What all I ever hear people say is that, the education is trash, the schools are trash, everything is trash. They're like, degrees aren't worth nothing, they give them to everybody. The universities are creating leftists, purple-haired snowflakes, and it's not worth the money. It's a waste of money. Can't get no job with it. It's pointless. Why don't you go get you a trade or whatever? But hey, a trade is education. What I kind of want to focus on is solutions today as far as the future of education, because I really can't argue with a lot of those points as far as the public schools being trash. I would say a lot of these private schools are trash. The universities aren't what they used to be. They do have a bunch of pointless degrees that you can take and waste your money on. But so what do we do about it? What is the future of education? how can we possibly have, some actual education where people learn, you know? And I've put a lot of thought in this. And what I've come up with is like, we teach ourselves, you know, we teach ourselves, and the education system has to be decentralized and become more like local, even local to the point where it's like neighborhood, you know, where you have groups of people who get together and they teach each other things, they make sure the kids are good. They teach the adults teach the adults. And what I always, the reason why I always read comments under the videos and whatever Instagram posts or whatever is because people know things. Like, not everybody is an idiot. You know what I'm saying? There's people out there that know stuff. Okay. So, that's what you do. You get the community together and like somebody, he knows a lot about electrical stuff, or somebody knows a lot about plumbing. Like, why do you have to go to a school necessarily to learn this stuff? How come you can't just have like a community center where people show up and they explain stuff that they know about, stuff that they know really well? And, they either do it for free as far as donating their time, or as a community, y'all put together some money to pay these people for their time. I think that's the future of education. Decentralized, local, even to the point of neighborhoods, and people are teaching each other. Like, a lot of learning happens on YouTube. Like, I type in how to something on YouTube all the time when I have a problem and it's something that I can't figure out how to do. And somebody just put a video up on YouTube for free that let me know everything I need to know about this thing. Like, I don't even know this person. They donated their time to make a video about how to do something. And, it was very useful to me. Now, I'm good at searching. So, not every video on YouTube of how to whatever is going to be worth a crap. But I'm good at searching and finding a video that's good. You know what I mean? So, it takes a little bit of effort, but, nothing comes for free. So you got to put your time in to find what you need to find that's going to actually help you. So that's what you're paying, So it's like paying forward is where we're talking about, When you go and learn some stuff, then you share it with others. That's the future of education. What's up, Deuce?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Man, I apologize for being late.
Oh shit, I ain't tripping. I'm rolling. So
Yeah, so I asked you last time what was more important, what you know, what job or what career is more important than being a teacher? And I don't think a lot of people, their brain really clicks with that question, but you did right away because you was like, shit, nothing really. Like, because then I think it was Doc or Pat, one of them said, well, a doctor or whatever. And you was like, well, the doctor needs a teacher to teach them. So,
yeah,
when at the end of the day, teaching is got to be one of the most important professions, you know.
I would say so.
It's got to be. I mean, like, I don't give a damn who's out there. I'll argue with you on this, and then
Well, and
like,
teaching is so broad. You don't have to be a certified teacher. With a board of education's license to teach to be a teacher. I mean, we all learn from somebody. Growing up as a child, we learn from grandma, mama, grandpa, aunts, uncles. Like life is the best fucking teacher.
you said a mouthful right there.
You
And
know.
what else are we doing? Because us as humans, like, one of the things that's weird about us compared to other, animals in the animal kingdom, a lot of them animals are born with everything already. Like, they're born knowing all the stuff that they need to know, most of it anyways. But we're born like not knowing anything really. Like, we have to learn everything. So, and it's like the learning never stops for us. We also, our gestation process is slower than a lot of other creatures. Like, we take a longer time to grow up, physically and mentally. So,
Yeah.
that whole process of learning stuff is how we're able to become, you know, humans that are able to freaking fly around in space and stuff. You know, we're not born with this knowledge. It has to be taught. It has
Yeah.
to be taught to us. So, like you said, and your parents are teachers. You know, we always teaching each other. You know, I was reading about this. There's a something related to play because animals that play a lot, and we're one of them. We learn a lot through play. You know, you play around and you explore. You're just curious. You push and you pull. You know, you play with your friends and so forth and so on. But there's more going on than just the play. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like sparring or whatever with other people. You learn how to deal with them. You learn how to be in society. Damn, I lost them. So, but I want to ask y'all. So, what about homeschooling? Right? A lot of people feel like homeschooling is the answer because, like I was saying earlier, it's like the education system is trash. So a lot of people take their kids out of the public school system and they teach their kids at home. But then I'm like, that's not really an answer. That's not really a solution for multiple reasons. One of the reasons I feel like that's not a solution is because you have to teach them the approved what's the word? Uh damn it, I just drew a blank. You get that from the state, the curriculum. Yeah, the approved curriculum. You get that from the state, that you teach them. And also your child isn't learning how to interact with people, you know and no matter what, they're going to have to go out there in the world and they're going to have to interact with others. They need to build skills that teach them how to deal with other people, because there's nothing they could do without doing that. You know what I'm saying? And that's a skill, and that's something that you have to learn over time. And it's really hard to teach your child that without them experiencing it. You know, the experience of dealing with people is what teaches you how to deal with people. You can tell them all day long and break it all the way down, and explain it to them, but they won't really understand that until they have to go out there and actually deal with people. So I think that schooling is not really the answer, um, for those two reasons, that you get the curriculum and you don't get to interact with people. But there's more. What do you, Deuce? What do you think about that as far as the answer to the problem with the education system being homeschooling?
Um, I mean, I mean, I don't really know I would say one of the benefits of homeschooling is that, you know, you don't necessarily have to go off of the public school's curriculum. There's different private sectors that you can actually pay and have their curriculum, which is still accredited with your child's education will be accredited as far as them being able to further their education on in the college and things of that nature. Um, but I mean, there again, I think your kid, like what you're saying, like the kids going to school and interacting with other students and being around other people and just getting that skill, you know, because a lot of times, I mean, they, well, I don't want to say homeschool does not give them that opportunity because there's communities where there's like homeschools or like there's different forums or whatever, blogs or whatever, where like these homeschool kid parents, they meet up with each other for lunch or extra, like outside shit, if you put them in the sports and things of that nature. So you can still get your kids interactive with other kids. Um, the thing about it is just um, having to make that sacrifice. If it's a two-parent household and both parents have careers, someone is going to have to probably make that sacrifice to homeschool that child, of not working.
And,
So,
and a lot of parents don't have that option. I'm one of those parents, because I'm a single parent, and
yeah,
there's no way I could do it. There's no way I would have time to do it.
yeah, yeah,
There's no way. It'd be
yeah,
impossible. I gotta pay bills.
yeah. I mean, it's difficult, you know. I mean, the people that are able to do that, then that's fine. That's great. You know, I have heard of like kids being homeschooled and like within the community, and like there's like this one or two or maybe three parents that are ex educators or whatever, and they all meet up at like this whatever that house or whatever, and I have heard of that. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, I seen something like that within one of the neighborhoods I stayed in, you know, and shit, we all wish we was homeschooled like these kids. If we get out of school, shit, we not making it home till 4:30 in the evening. They already outdoors playing, like so.
Yeah, man. I really think that that's one of the major problems with the system is how much time they have to spend up there. They waste a lot of time. You know, Recently they did some experiments with 4-day work weeks,
Yeah,
and
they're doing that in the Crosby School District. They're going to 4 day, yeah, 4 days, yeah, 4 days. I think they'll just go Monday through Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, so these workplaces tried it out and they saw that the people was more productive. They were actually able to get more work done within those 4 days than they got done within those five. And I think it would be the same for the schools, and I don't think they need to be there from 8 to freaking 4:30 either all
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah,
Um, you know, I mean, it's a lot of ways I think that we could improve the state system or whatever, but I just don't see it happening. You know what I'm saying? I think that as a community, we have to take it upon ourselves to teach ourselves and make it a priority and realize how important it is because, and in the politics right now, they talk bad about the teachers. Like, the teachers are indoctrinating the children. They're, you know, teaching about
uh,
them, they, and
but I think that's bullshit because the teachers only teach according to the curriculum that they're told to teach, that they're given to teach.
they
You
can't
know,
really teach outside of that or they're going to lose their job. And so it's not really true. And like what Doc was saying is like a lot of that is focusing on the like 1%, like extraordinary circumstances where strange things happen. And then the politics jumps on this and then they say that this is happening in all the schools. And,
yeah,
but people fall for the okey doke, because there's a reason why they lead us down this road of that particular way of thinking is it's really to defund the schools. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of the different kind of social programs, the stuff that people, that helps people that they don't really have to pay for or whatever, has been dismantled over the last, I don't know, 20, 30 years, maybe longer. They've been picking at it. And school is one of them because it's like, you don't deserve that or whatever. But it's a really messed up way of thinking because they're thinking that they're saying it's communism or socialism or whatever. They're not going to say that out
yeah,
loud, but that's what they're thinking. So, but, but having an educated public, having people around you that know things is beneficial to you. It could be beneficial to you directly or indirectly. And I don't think that people like, we really should be thinking that way. We really should be thinking in a way like like crime. Crime is a good example because we're talking about school, and school and crime is definitely connected. You know, they call it the school to prison pipeline. You think about crime, and most crime is as a result of people not having an education and not having opportunities and not having, incomes or jobs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So some kid who dropped out of school and don't have no money, and he's out there robbing people or whatever. He's out there selling drugs or whatever because that's how he gets by. That's how he lives. That's how he eats. So, but if that kid did get an education, if that kid did have a job or something, a career, something to sustain him, then that kid wouldn't be out there committing those crimes. It's really simple, But society,
But that's the society that they want, man. We live in a society of everything that's false or that's not true is true. It's law. It's what you should live by. you know it's funny how the news media will promote or push a lie, you know but then fight against the truth, like with this whole department of misinformation. you know they want an uneducated public, because they can control you.
it's real
They can
simple.
they can yeah, they control the narrative, they control your life, they control every aspect, and it's the same way, it all, bro, it all goes hand in hand, uneducated society, uneducated people, and then not only that, the whole thing of, disarming America. It's like all of a sudden, bro, it's like you can't tell me that none of this shit is not planned. Look at all of these shootings that has happened since the school shooting in Tennessee. Like, bro, it's a plot, it's a ploy, and people feed into it, and they prey on your little heart. So we need to take the weapons out, we need to take guns out of the hands of our citizens. This is just not right. There's too many gun violence, there's too many killings, and it's like, bro, and it is the same way they do you when it comes down to the schooling. Like, they want us to be dummies. They want us to be dumbed down. That's why kids in our society and our education system, unless you're paying for your child to go to a private school or in some type of private education sector, they're behind. We're behind. When you look at some of the other top countries, like, look at the shit that they're doing to us over here. They're not doing that to their people in the UK. Look at how smart the kids are in China and Japan and all of these other countries, bro. As opposed to even India. People talk shit about India, but hey, man, I went to school, to an academy high school, and I went to school with a lot of exchange students, and they came over here in my high school, and they're telling our teachers, like, you guys are behind. Y'all are doing algebra in ninth grade. Like, we done that shit way back, sixth grade. Like, y'all are behind over here.
Well, I have to say, all those countries that you mentioned have a stronger public uh, school system. Where they don't pay; it's free.
Well,
It's
I mean, I get that, but here, that's what I'm saying. They put this in your head that, oh, it's okay to defund this or that. We don't need this, and then you have the haves that are like, yeah, they don't care that they defund the public school system because they have the financial means to send their kids somewhere else. But the have-nots are like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? I can't be at home and give my child this time, and be at home for 8 hours and, and try to teach them myself. And then you got to think of half of the society are don't know the curriculum anyway, like, can't teach their kids
right.
to begin with. So it's like,
And I
bro,
have to
that
say this while I'm thinking about it. There are a number of the public schools who are in the United States who are doing really well, like and teaching the kids, and the kids are learning. Like, not all of the public schools suck. You know what I'm saying? It's a there is a good percentage of them, but there are some out there that are really doing really well, even in the public sector. You know what I'm saying? But you don't really hear about that. They want you to go private, because that's money. That's what it's all about. Capital.
Majority of the ones that are doing really well, you know, if you look at the area and you look at the area and you look at the
The
income per
demographic.
capita, the
Yeah.
demographic, and you look at the income per capita for that environment or that neighborhood, okay, well, that's why they're doing better. You think about us going to school in North Forest ISD. That's a school district that don't even fucking exist anymore. It was way behind. They scored a F for how many consecutive years? Probably fucking decades.
Fucking
Like,
sad.
thank God I got a chance to go to Fort Bend ISD and actually learn something.
Yeah.
Like,
My learning pretty much stopped when I got to middle school. Yeah. I didn't learn much after that. It's
you
really
know,
sad.
yeah. So it's like you think about that. So, um, and that just goes to
And
that
when I
just
was in
goes back to
elementary
this.
and middle, I was in a really nice neighborhood, and the schools were really good. And
Yeah,
then we moved to the hood, and I didn't learn nothing else after that. Really
yeah,
sad.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so, but I got to say this too, that some of these private schools suck too. You know, and the kids aren't learning shit in there either. That's another part of this. Like, they got us thinking that if I take my kid out of public school, I put him in a private school, they're gonna be learning. You know, but that may not necessarily be the case, depending on the school.
Well, I mean that, yeah. But 9 times out of 10, your child is usually learning a lot more. The parent actually has more rights. You have the ability to tap in a lot more, as opposed to being at your child being at a public school. I mean, yeah, you have rights, but you can't just you go in there. Oh, I want to speak to their assistant principal. I want to speak to their counselor. You got to schedule a meeting. You know what I'm saying? You think about a lot of these private schools that you're paying tuition for your child, yearly tuition for your child to go there, and you walk up in that bitch. I need to speak to the principal right now. I need to speak to the counselor right now. I need to see what's going on. I need to check in on my
That's
child.
that's this day and age.
Yeah,
But
you
when
know.
we were growing up, it wasn't quite like that. For whatever reason, they're trying to keep parents out of what they're teaching you. What they're actually teaching your child. Like, you walking up and just going to their class and looking out in the window, or just sitting in the back of the class is not welcome now like it used to be. So that's why I'm so kind of like okay. So what is, like, it's, I think there's more of an indoctrination going on now than what we went through. So that's why we have to find a way to be more involved. And I mean, I know for like me and Deuce, us being truck drivers, us not being able to be there and to help, really teach our kids. Homeschooling really isn't a thing. And then his mom is working and this, that, and the other. Honestly, I think in this, like, currently, the best thing for a child, if we're talking about actual learning, like, they're gonna get more at home than they would in a school, and that's my opinion. You know, my son does pretty good, but that's because, shit. I stay on it. Like, I mean, I'm stay on him about what he's learning, and it's like, okay, it's like, well, let me see what you're doing, and he'll show me, how he's doing this, that, and the third, and I was like, okay, look, you need to know that, but at the same time, here's another way to look at it, and it's opening up his mind to. He's like, he thinks he's not just a robot and just doing what was said. He's actually like, oh, wait a minute, oh, you know what? okay, I did this, so he can, now it's almost like he computes it before he even does the problem in a couple of different ways, and then he does it so that he doesn't get in trouble at school.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I tell my daughter. I'd be like, I don't really care about what they teaching you there, but just do what you got to do to get up out of there. Because you have to do that. And I just teach her myself. As much knowledge as I have or that I can give. And I like to focus on life as far as like what you're gonna deal with in life. Like paying bills and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Credit cards, all the stuff nobody taught me. I learned the hard way about all this stuff. But
Yeah.
I want to keep her from going through those same bumping her head on this stuff. You know, like real life issues. What you gotta, how you deal with people. How you deal with situations.
Yeah.
Certain things you have to do. Like you have to get up and take care of business. You got to show up. You have to do this. You can't accomplish anything without showing up. Like that's fundamental. And doing it on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being reliable. You can't
Well,
accomplish anything without those things.
one of the things that I've somewhat been debating is like, how much is this education center, I mean, education system gonna be qualified? Like how much of it really is gonna qualify you for anything in the future? Like everything that we learn about that things that's going into the future like they're not touching on any of this shit. Like the only thing that like I mean, and your school is not teaching you about coding. It's not, unless you're paying somebody, on the side to do it, to
It's
teach your
weird that
kids.
they did. It's weird that they don't show that. When I was in elementary, they did show us. And you're a little older than me, but they probably did you too. But because I remember when the computers kind of first came out and kind of came real mainstream, they had you had the before Windows, and you had the green and you had the black and green screen, and they would teach you how to give the computer commands and stuff. Did they ever teach you that?
Yeah,
Yeah. So they don't
Yeah,
they don't show they don't
they
teach
taught us
no
that
kids
shit.
because they knew it was going to be important, and they was like focusing on that, and it was teaching us that, but they completely just dropped that shit and stopped teaching kids that stuff. Like you got to pay for classes
well,
to learn that stuff
Yeah,
now.
they taught us
was
that
it?
on the you remember the old Apple computers? They were clear with the different color over the top. Yeah, they taught us that coding and actually writing programs and shit. Like we did that in computer class. I don't even think kids take computer tech classes anymore. Like that was a curriculum, a core. That was a
Yeah,
core course
everybody
that
had to
we had
take
to
it.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm gonna tell you, bro, and I love the land of America, but at the same time, like a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with and that what we're preparing our children for is not much of anything. And I think that we have to have really more a holistic approach of how we're teaching, because if we really go back and we think about in history, I mean, there've always been colleges and in universities, but the whole idea of school system, like a school, like it didn't exist the way it does now. And I think at some point they did try to teach, children, in a certain way, but they kind of backed off of that here in the United States, like almost to make us not, you know, com- compete, where we can actually compete with the rest of the world purposely. Like I really feel like this is purposely done, because like who actually takes, it's not like the things can't be taught or like the children can't learn. It's just that they would rather take away, let us say the scores, make them, they don't have to score as high to be able to pass. Like
I
instead
think
of
you beating
actually,
around the bush, Pat.
Well,
You're not
I'm trying.
you're not saying what you want to say. What you really want to say is that you think about all of these years that America has been on top, and now the one on top must fall, must crash, and it's done purposely. This is pre-planned. That's why all of these countries that they have indoctrinated in us that are horrible countries now these countries are now on top and are damn near invading. They walking right in this motherfucker.
They own half of this place already. Wait, but let's get. I want to gear the conversation in a different direction because Pat was kind of touching on it. Like, what do y'all think is the future of education? What are the solutions? Where do we go from here in education? How do we improve it?
Well, one thing I think that we have to have we have to take more of a simple approach and deal with what we can deal with, because I mean we cannot, like, if we waiting for the public school, private school, yeah, whatever school system your kid is in for them to learn, like your kid is gonna be slave level. They're not going to be they're not going to be able to compete with people around the world. And honestly, like, you have to figure out, we're going to have to like, teaching them certain things now, on your own stuff at home is going to
No.
give them more context to what life has for them than what school is actually offering.
And if you can't teach them, and if you can't afford it, there's you. And this is not trying to make fun of nobody. If you can't teach them this, or you can't afford this normally throughout the year, there's one time a year that working people have a little change, and that's tax time. Instead of going buy them $100 sneakers or the fancy clothes or the new game or something, gear their minds to think, hey, I'm gonna put you in this computer tech class. I'm gonna pay for you to go do this. This is gonna give you something that you have for the rest of your life. When you get that tax check, that five, six, $7,000 you get, say, man, I understand you got bills. I understand you trying to get caught up on things, but them bills gonna always be there. Set a little money aside and put your child in some type of extracurricular learning course. And they have that out there for minors. They have that for minors at Houston Community College, other places around the country, other little community college. You can take your minor kids and pay for that course that will teach them this, and if you are a low income person, you may have to spend a little money, but you're not gonna have to pay the whole price for it. Sign up, show that that you're low income or whatever, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And get your kids in that course, bro. Like we have to start thinking different, man. That's gonna be the biggest change that we can make is we have to, as adults, we have to reconstruct our thinking, and we have to take accountability, because as if they're under the age of 21, we're responsible. And even once they reach 21, we're responsible, but we're responsible for them, and we gotta start making those sacrifices. And I get it, but hey, man, instead of them looking fly, during tax time, take that money and put them in some courses, man. You can do that,
I think that's a
and it
good
don't cost.
suggestion. But let me ask you this though. How do we help the community? What I'm saying is, like, both
We
of y'all are
can't.
making good suggestions, but it's
We're helping the
basically just
community because everybody in the hood gets a tax return, bro, with or without a job.
Well, I
So
mean,
let's not.
even aside from that, like, I'm gonna tell you, bro, like, we can offer, like, I mean, the only thing, like, we're helping the community with this conversation. If they're listening and they can, utilize any of the words that we're saying, that's us helping the community. Because first of all, there's some people that's just like, man, like, y'all look, y'all got all these old grandiose ideas about the world. And I said, man, fuck the world. It's how a bunch of people who is thinking of this, like, they don't see it optimistically, because honestly, like some people looking at this is the worst time in history. No, really, this is the best time in history. Like for people who are still doing the work, like bro, this is like an awesome time to be alive. Like to actually see, you know, the fall, and you can be a part of the rise of the new system that can actually, you know, help change the world. But if you look at the world with doom and gloom, I mean, that's just, I mean, that's how you, that's your, I mean, that's what you're pretty much putting out there for yourself. You're manifesting that for yourself. So my suggestion is that there's I mean, because let's just say there's classes that's available with people who's been in tech, and they're not. This is not like some kind of, it's an online class that you can, take. You take it with your kid too. Like honestly, like you should be taking it so that you can be on the edge of learning these things, and your child can actually be learning this stuff at the same time. So when they do get older, or even as a child, they can become, where they can start to even make money, or like creating their own industry. Like they have more of a creative edge than you do, because most cases, like adults, pioneers are calcified because, or they just, because of the way they were indoctrinated, they don't know how to create. Or like right now there's so much going on, especially like with AI. Bro, people are so afraid of AI. It's insane. It's really like, it's insane to me. And then but that's why AI is going to be smarter than humans, is because they're afraid to interact with it and control it themselves, because some idiot that wants to harm the world is going to use it and do something that can help it, instead of where you can be involved with your mind that can actually do things, use it to benefit the world. So like it's really your perspective. Like people are limiting their perspectives on the world. That's where
So,
I have a problem.
but let
And
me ask you.
then
So, because
also, bro, like if you like we're talking about things that can help. If if you are receiving government subsidy for your children, food stamps, Medicaid, anything of that nature, you can get internet in your home. You may not can't get cable TV, but you can get internet in your home, Wi-Fi internet, for either a reduced cost, or if not free, you can get that for free. I understand you may not be able to afford a computer right away, but hey, look, you know, you get some money together, get a computer. You don't have to get a brand new computer. You can get that in the home. Like these are different tools. Like it's just about I, I don't know, bro. I just think different when I hear this shit, because I feel like everybody in government, everybody that's in these social programs in the communities, you know, they're helping people to find excuses as to why they don't, instead of reconstructing their thought process in the way that you go about thinking about things. We always have a question or want to answer, but instead we should be asking a better question. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So, but look, the way y'all are coming at
Like I'm
this,
not,
and,
because
and I'm not saying it's
Ho- ho-
wrong.
we have to, Chaka, because if you continue to give people, we have to, because if you continue
I
to
want to hear
give
his
our
question.
people excuses, we never get better, bro. We can't keep
Yeah.
having excuses and
What I'm
Ho-
hope.
saying
It
is,
does
let
nothing.
Deuce, let him ask a question,
well,
please.
but what I'm saying is, I have I wish that we could look at it and get away from this individualism thing, and how come we? What about the people who don't have the resources? So what I'm saying is, I would like to see like community schools.
But
You know
we
what I'm
say
saying?
people that
Something
don't
that,
have resources, but bro, you forget, nigga, we grew up in the hood. Motherfuckers that said they didn't have resources every weekend, they had a poker night going on, they had fish fries, they had barbecue, everybody was drinking. Come on, dog. Say, man,
And
it's not an individual thing because I come from the scum. I come from the bottom, bro. And I didn't have no help coming. When I turned 18 years old, CPS dropped me out on my fucking head and they say, hey, we got a college voucher for you if you want to go to college. And I knew I wasn't college bound, but I knew I needed to provide for myself. So I took that voucher and I went to truck driving school. I quit being a correctional officer and went to truck driving school. And it's like my thing is I respect everything that you put out here, everything that you say, and how you for the people. But we also a lot of times with giving the people excuses, we doing nothing but hindering them and keeping them in the same place.
well, what I'm
We
saying
got we
is,
gotta reprogram their thinking, bro. We are not under fucking dogs. If you can convince people to believe in their strength and who they truly are, bro, shit will happen, shit will
but we're
change.
we're stronger.
But
We're
continuing to
stronger
give them.
together, bro.
We are
As a
we are.
community.
I am
Listen,
trying
listen.
to be together, but
L-
giving them
let me say
a
this.
way out and to blame, oh, this, that. No, man, reconstruct, because bro, we all get money some kind of way. We may not have the best, we may not have everything as a person that's making 60, 70, 80,000, $100,000 a year. But bro, when I
Well,
see you spend $150 on a pair of fucking Nikes when you could have went in Walmart and got that fucking desktop computer that they had marked down for 98, you feel me? It don't
So,
well,
make
but
sense
listen.
to
even
me, my
even if
nigga.
the
It doesn't
even if
make.
the community is making bad decisions, how come we can't have like a community school that's organized by the community, organized by the
They
neighborhood
they don't
for
they
Well,
don't
for
we
the
have
can. We
that.
people,
They
can.
don't. But
for
they
your
don't have
neighbors?
that. But they don't have that right now, Chaka. But they do have resources out there, bro. They're not telling us about these resources.
But look,
That's what
you're
we can
still
do. We
relying
can.
on the state when you're talking about this kind of thing. I'm saying us as
I'm
a
talking about.
community build the school ourselves, run it
Yes,
ourselves,
but
fund
see,
it
but
ourselves,
listen,
organize it
listen.
ourselves. It have
But
nothing to do with the state.
you know how something like that begins in individualism. Somebody deciding, hey, you know what, this is what's needed. You know what? All right, let me start talking to some people so we can figure out a way to put the resources together to, okay, it's gonna cost this to get the building where we'll meet up at. All right, you get that part done. Then you move on up to where you're starting to say, hey, we got this class going on. It's $5 for y'all to attend. If you want your kid to come, we'll have this, that, and the third, but we need you to at least give us $5. Or whatever's necessary. Like everything begins in one mind. Like it's a collective minds that we're dealing with in the world, the universe. But at the same time, it's one person that's going to get that idea. And if God is sending to you, that's what your job is, to go on and utilize that mindset to start creating things like that. So I mean, the what if ism doesn't do anything. It's all about what you can actually bring to the world. Like we have great ideas, but a lot of times, that's where we lose, is because a lot of people don't follow through what God gave them, the gift that He's saying, hey, this is what you're going to prosper at. This is the idea I'm giving you. So when you sit on it and you complain, or why other people didn't do that and do whatever. No, because it was for you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I agree with you. I agree with you 100% there. But what I'm trying to do here though is change people's minds as far as get them to be thinking a bit different, because
Yeah,
we've been programmed to think a certain way, and that's what gets the results that we have. You know what I'm saying?
I,
For us to have
yes.
different results, we have to think different.
I mean,
I
and I get that.
What do
I'm
you want
all
to define the
for the
community
community.
as? Oh shit.
Like a
I'm all.
neighborhood. It could be just a neighborhood, or it could just be
Okay,
an
so
apartment complex.
what makes sure that this community education is going to be something that they can use and will be useful to them if they were to move to, say, Los
Today.
Angeles community?
Well, yes, it's gonna be useful because the way I'm thinking of it is like the people that live in the neighborhood,
What
the
about
stuff
Ohio?
that
Someone in a neighborhood in Ohio.
Yeah.
it's
What
not
about
gonna
their
matter.
community teaching what they do and how they in that community exist and the values and information important to them going to make a difference when that kid moves to Miami?
It will, because people need the same stuff everywhere. So what I'm saying is,
That's what
someone
public schools are supposed to be are about.
I know, I agree, but what I was saying earlier is that it seems like the public schools aren't going in a good direction. Like
Well, that's
it's a
because
mess.
800 people are all trying to sit there and inject so much ideology, counter ideology, propaganda, anti-propaganda into it that they don't understand that all it is to help build a basic framework. So when you get out of high school, everyone is pretty much in an equal mind of like, okay, I know what who I am and which way Detroit is.
But what I'm saying is, you got people who know things. There's always people around that know things. They may not think they know, but they do. Like whatever it is they do, they could be an electrician, they could be a plumber, or whatever it is. And you get together as a community, the people that they talk about what they know, and they teach the kids about what
But
they know.
listen,
And we teach ourselves in that way.
yes,
So
but
all the
listen,
kids can know plumbing, all the kids can know electrical. That's going to be
Like
useful everywhere.
community centers like the YMCA used to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But see, I'm gonna tell you. But the only thing about that whole thing that we're talking about, because it can happen. It's like it's not impossible. It can definitely happen. But there has to be people at the beginning of that thought group, that process. Because if you're waiting to have the whole community decide on what's gonna be brought and this, that, and the other, like it's never gonna start, because it's gonna have so many ideas. People gonna be mad. Oh, their idea didn't get used and all that, blah blah blah. No, you start, like, if you like, hey, I'm offering such and such class, or or hey, I got somebody that's gonna teach our kids how to code, or to do whatever, this AI, teaching you different tools, or how to use them as tools or whatever, blah blah blah. Like, you say, all right, look, Tuesday nights every week, Tuesday, bring your kids. It's already paid for. Just tell them to bring their ass. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and then somebody else say, oh damn, that's pretty cool. You know what? I think somebody's gonna be like, hey, well, I think the kids should learn this. All right, well, you know what? Here goes such and such class. They're gonna be here on Thursday night. And y'all bring y'all, just tell y'all kids to bring their ass, be ready to have their pen and paper ready, blah blah blah, whatever. I mean, you can't, if you try to have too many minds involved, it'll never happen. So whoever is at the lead of it has to just say, hey, this is what we're doing. I put this class together so that us in this community, like nobody else in the world is getting this right now. This is going to benefit our community right now, because we're, and maybe it's something that they can use in the future, but at least it's something that they can start building on, and they're learning, they understand it, and that's something when they're going into high school, going into college, they are already ahead of anyone, because they're learning that one thing. But like I said, I mean, too many people thinking about how certain things are going to be done. That's why our school systems are screwed up now. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, I mean, yes, everybody should have some say-so or some involvement, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But so many people have decided what they think children should have and should know. When, look, we should have just kept it at the basics. Like, keep the children, and when you get into junior high, because I remember we had different electives that we could take, that it was actually taking us to understand something that we could actually use when we leave out of that school. Mechanicism, learning about being a mechanic, woodworking.
Normally 6th grade or so is where you get the chance to start going into athletics, physical skills, or music.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. I mean,
They
and
took
they
sharp. out
Physical
of
skill.
school.
Well, yeah, I
They took
understand.
sharp out. They took
I was in
art.
shop in the '80s. That may not be the worst idea.
The what?
Taking shop out of schools. I understand that in the '80s, being literally almost hit by a uh, an oxygen tank turned into a missile because some idiot didn't chain it to the rack.
Mm. Yeah, I remember teachers having their fingers cut off and stuff.
Oh well, that you couldn't hire a shop teacher with all their fingers. Otherwise, you wouldn't treat them as serious about it.
He wasn't no good. Yeah, he had all his fingers. He wasn't. He
All of our
wasn't as good.
coaches had beer bellies.
You ain't lying. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, like the whole thing is for them to
All
teach.
of our
I mean,
math teachers
there's a
look
lot.
like Bill Nye.
There's a lot of
Even
knowledge
the
that's
women.
out there. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of knowledge out there. Shoot, we could actually probably take some time and say, you know, look, look honestly, for just the average kid, just being able to have some sound conversation, like somebody that actually makes sense to them. Because I mean, if they listen to the news and listen to their parents, and they're confused as fuck. Like just giving them a chance to be able to ask questions sometimes, you know, and that I guess that could be a problem too, because you get the wrong person in there answering questions.
That's
Yeah.
the thing about us. We're sitting here. I think we're all Gen X, right? We come from
I
the
am.
generation. We came from the generation.
Nah,
where we
Chaka,
did
no,
it.
Chaka,
There were
Chaka, and
issues for us. There were
Deuce are
issues for us.
millennial. You and I are X. They are millennials.
I thought Chaka slid right in at the end of. I thought he was at the end of X. Like
He was born. He was born in the 80s.
78. 78. So
Oh,
then
He's X. He's X.
it's right
Yeah.
on the edge. It's right. It's
X
really.
X goes through like 83.
Yeah, it's
No,
right, I'm right. I'm right on the edge.
X.
64
Nah,
to 83.
at 78 he is an X, but you know, because no, 80.
There's a lot that went on in that 20 years time from the 80s, me as a teenager, or growing up in the 90s as a teenager.
Yeah.
That compacted time is almost two generations in itself. One, but either way, you know, like I said, we're Schrodinger's generation. Nobody really pays attention to anything we got to say until we say something, and then they lump us either in with the boomers or the millennials, depending upon what we say.
Well, cause see, look,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
tell you the mindset.
As a millennial,
And most of us are both.
As a millennial, I'm an '86. I was born December of '86, so I'm towards the end of '86.
Well,
but
it really depends on the influences that you had.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I have listened. You know, I take heed to what Generation X and the generation before y'all, the ones that are still around, and that's why I feel like I have the mind frame that I have. You know, like instead of, I feel like everybody who comes that say they're for the community, you know, instead of actually changing the thought process and the way people think and giving people and showing people, they give them excuses, you know. And you think about the generation before Generation X, you know, it wasn't no excuses, man. They got out there and they did it. You know, it wasn't the best, but
That was
they
the
they
boomer
made
generation.
do. Yeah, they made do with what they had, and you think about the community that they had then, and then you look at how
But that's why
how
X
we
is the
have
way it
allowed
is.
to
They left
communicate.
us at home while they were out doing that.
Yeah, and then you think about now, like you think
Why do you
about
think that we make
how
up
the
our own
political
answers?
side is so how political these fucking politicians are able to come into our community and feed our people with so much bullshit, and then our people wonder why they're still at square one, is because those folks, they came through and they sold you a little bit of hope, a fake ass dream, and they left you with 1,001 excuses, you know, and they continue to hinder you, yet and still you go across the street. If you're just willing to cross them fucking railroad tracks, you'll see that they got this, they have this, you know, you know, call up Xfinity for this. Hey, they got this right here. Hey, we understand, you know, you don't have a job right now, but are you on a fixed income and you got kids? Well, here you go. Oh, well, you know what? Because your kids are in school in Texas. Okay, well, you get internet for free. You get home phone and internet for free.
But
Like
see,
there's
here's the thing.
different ways of doing
No
things. Like,
one knows about these things, and that's the problem. Like I keep saying, things are available. Things are available. Chaka's answer has been unanimously always, well, send me the link to that. Send me the link to that. Let me know. Because there's no one place you can go out there. There's no one organization, one charity group of people that you can call up that's just, help me figure this out,
bro,
fuckedout.org.
it's about
It'd
answer.
be
It's
nice if
about
they
ask.
had it.
It's about
Be my
Help.
be
it's
my
about
daddy because
asking.
I didn't have one.org.
We need
It's
that.
about asking a question, bro. Like, say, man, like I was born in '86. Okay,
No,
I'm
it's
supposed
about
I'm
who you
supposed to
ask the
be
question
this.
to, though.
I'm
Not
supposed
just
to
Yes.
be this
asking it.
computer, this, that, that. Say, man, I'm more of a personal person. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do the automated shit. I don't want to do the texting. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear how your voice drops, how it changes when I pose a question to you. Like
So you want to call me up and have me do it for you?
no, I
No,
don't
that's
want
not
to
what he's
call. I
saying.
don't. I'm not saying that because I don't want nobody to do shit for
But
me.
no, okay,
If I don't
not
know, I
not not
figure it out on
accusing
my
you,
own.
but think about how many people today are like that, though.
Yeah. Wait, let me
Oh
get
well,
into
I want to
some.
call you and you fix this for me.
Let me get into some stuff. I want to talk about the leak and them arresting that young kid, 21 years old. But before, let's do this story right here, right quick. Fulton County Sheriff's Office released a statement responding to claims an inmate was eaten alive by bed bugs. This story caught my eye because freaking bed bugs are the damn devil. Check this out.
His family's attorney provided this photo of his jail cell. It's filthy and only offers a glimpse of how bad the conditions were. The pictures of Thompson's body, his face and torso covered with bugs, are too graphic to show on TV. Attorney Michael Harper says Thompson was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but was physically healthy when he was booked into jail.
There is no excuse for a mentally ill inmate to be.
35-year-old LaShawn Thompson was arrested last June for simple battery, a misdemeanor. His family's attorney provided this photo of his jail cell. It's filthy and only offers a glimpse of how bad the conditions were.
So it says, first and foremost, the Fulton County Sheriff's Office would like to extend condolences to the family of LaShawn Thompson. The manner and cause of death was listed as undetermined by county medical examiner. A full investigation was launched into the circumstances surrounding Mr. Thompson's death. As part of that ongoing investigation, immediate action was taken, included but not limited to approving an additional expenditure for $500,000 to address the infestation of bed bugs, lice, and other vermin within the Fulton County Jail, which was done in addition to prior cleaning operations targeting communicable diseases that are common in congregant settings, updating protocols for security rounds to include addressing sanitary conditions. The ongoing investigation is examining details regarding the medical care provided and ultimately will determine whether any criminal charges are warranted in this case. The health, well-being, and security of inmates in our care is our top priority. It's no secret that the dilapidated and rapidly eroding conditions of the current facility make it incredibly difficult to meet the goal of providing a clean, well-maintained, and healthy environment for all inmates and staff. That is precisely why Sheriff Labatt continues to call building a new Fulton County Jail and criminal justice complex, which will provide an elite level of care, mental health services, security, and cleanliness. So let me read the caption. It says, the family of a man who died in the Fulton County Jail in Georgia is calling for a criminal investigation and a new jail to be built after they claim LaShawn Thompson was eaten alive in his cell by bed bugs and insects. Reports LaShawn passed away in September after a 3-month stay at the jail. Attorney Michael Harper said LaShawn was diagnosed with schizophrenia. However, he was healthy when he was jailed for simple battery, which is a misdemeanor. There is no excuse for a mentally ill inmate to be left alone in a jail, abandoned to die, Harper said. The medical examiner reported LaShawn's cause of death is undetermined. The spokesman for the Fulton County Sheriff's Office released a written statement explaining a full investigation was launched into the circumstances surrounding LaShawn's death. Okay.
Say, bro,
Comments.
somebody saw this dude every day being attacked by these insects and did nothing about it. That's the problem, bro. Like, you know, for somebody to get to the point to where, okay, this is normal or this is okay.
5-year-old LaShawn Thompson
For
was
Sorry,
on
go ahead.
Yeah, for somebody to deal with, say, bro, none of those, all them little bugs are not that didn't overtake him in one day.
There's a lot going on with this
You know,
because
and another look at what the guy says or what he said. There's no excuse for a mentally ill inmate to be left alone in a jail. He didn't even need to say mentally ill in this case.
Anybody.
yeah,
No human being,
yes,
period, end of statement, should be left alone to die in a condition like that, especially when it is, criminal or not, against their will to be there.
and this guy was in on a misdemeanor. This is a county jail. This is not the prison. And you know, the county jail is where people go who aren't really criminals, like, you know, and it's always for short periods of time. So
It's
go to the
until they
county?
can figure out what to do with them.
and so you go to the county and you fucking die from horrible conditions. And I was reading a little bit about it, and the guy was saying, like, no way bed bugs could have just eat the guy alive. So he probably died, and the bed bugs was on him. But it's still it's all as a result.
I'm looking at that. No way any jail that I've ever been in, not gonna tell you how many that is or anything, will allow you to live in that kind of a condition. They
I
would
just went to
make
jail this
you
week.
scrub and clean that up, nothing else.
I just went to jail this week.
I would have been begging the CO for cleaning stuff, and I would have just did it my fucking self. I would have bugged the hell out of them.
I don't need that
Give me
toothbrush anyway.
Yeah, I would have cleaned the shit out of that fucking cell myself.
It's
But,
like,
you
fuck it.
know-
I'm missing a couple of teeth. I can do without a few more.
I'm telling you, I find a way. I find a way to clean this shit up. So, but this is just shows how retarded. I mean, our system is like ridiculously horrible. That
Okay,
somebody
so-
could get a misdemeanor and freaking die in these kind
Now
of
wait a
conditions.
minute, too. Pat baited us a little bit. We need him to expound a little bit upon his comment.
Nah.
Yeah, I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
No, 1,000%. I went to jail this week.
What the hell happened?
Who were you going to see?
I got arrested for an overweight scale ticket that I somehow got in 2017. This happened in Kentucky.
You don't have that prepaid lawyer thing going on?
Well, at the time, no, I didn't. I don't. I have a TVC, but that's beyond the whole thing. Like, it doesn't really matter.
You know what
'cause-
I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, well,
I only know about it
technically,
because my brother's a trucker.
yeah, technically, yes, I do have that, but in a circumstance like this, because this is something that was a mistake by the state of Kentucky, because I tried to handle this. I handled this back in 2018, because you know, whenever it happened, I think for me to fix it was in 2018, but when I got there, they told me that it was paid. So I'm like, oh, okay, the company I was with at the time paid it, and you know, blah blah blah. Well, this very same instance, I'm in jail. I only spent like about 4 hours in there, you know, waiting for somebody to be able to, you know, get me, you know, for them to get me booked in, for them to put money on my books, and then for me to bail myself out, because it was really just a fine. But they said that they had to arrest me because of, you know, this whole thing. Like $200, like shit, I make that in a few hours. Like, why, you know what I'm saying? What, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna stop me from making money for this, you know, for this bullshit. Like, it's just,
It's
it was
bullshit. I went to jail behind a mistake like that too. It was a one of those county. It was the county trooper or whatever that pulled me over, and they did something wrong in the computer, and it took them forever to figure it out. When I got booked in, they were looking at this stuff, and they was like, "What the hell? Like, something was wrong." And it took them forever to figure that shit out for me to get out. Like I was there for almost a day, and they were just trying to figure this fucking stupid shit that whatever mistake they made. It's fucking ridiculous. But hold on.
Yeah,
Dude, I was 19 in Longview, Texas. I spent all day Saturday or from Saturday night all day Sunday till Monday morning in jail because the cop and a witness swore I was a guy that committed the crime. As soon as the PR officer came in Monday morning, it was let the dude out. He was the guy that we paid to do the Crime Stoppers video for it. That's why he looks like the guy. Yeah, well, when I was in high school, I did Crime Stoppers videos, and I spent a night and a day in jail because I was the guy in the Crime Stoppers video, not the criminal, but the actual actor that did the film for him.
Stupid. That's so dumb. In my situation, it was I caught a case when I was young, like 17 years old or whatever, and I had deferred adjudication or whatever. The case was done, and but this lady somehow opened it and she took me to jail. Said I had a warrant for that shit, and I had already that case was all the way over, closed, and I don't know how she even opened that shit up, but.
Were there multiple things on the same docket?
Yeah, it was multiple things on.
Okay, so they closed all of it. So all of it wasn't closed. Only the stuff that was done was closed. Not that the other was a crime or anything, but it's still linked to an open case.
Yeah,
that's how she got to it, but it's still wrong.
Yeah,
she shouldn't have been able to do it.
But let me ask Deuce, because Deuce used to be a CO. Deuce, let me ask you, there? What do you think about this? You haven't made comments about the Fulton County Sheriff's Office and this guy dying. Well, his family said it was bed bugs, which bed bugs couldn't have really killed him, but we could see how horrible the conditions were in that picture.
Well, the iron deficiency
it could have killed him because over time, because this is larvae.
The vitamin deficiencies coming from the draining of the blood.
Yeah, well, that and plus the things that is developing on the outside and the inside from him being attacked by these insects. So every time that they're on him, eating him, they're creating maggots and this, that, and the other. That
so fucking gross, man.
He can't get. Yeah, bro. But I'm just saying, you get into the scientific part of how that happens. It's eroding the body from the inside and the outside because of he's not getting the proper care, a doctor, because there's no way that he shouldn't have been, he should have been in the unit, or what you call it, the whatever the health unit is. There's no, bro. This is the worst thing that could happen to a human being.
I'm telling you, that's the reason why I wanted to cover this, because this got to be the worst way to go. What worse way to die? You catch a misdemeanor case, go to the county and die from freaking.
But why you bullshitting? Yeah, but why you bullshitting? This is happening to old folks, because they don't get moved enough in the old folks' homes or in the hospitals, and this, that, and the other, called bed sores, but it's pretty much kind of the same thing. And
I was reading the comments underneath this post. It was a post on Instagram. The Shade Room posted this, and a lot of the comments, people were unsympathetic. They were like, "Oh, you do the crime, you do the time, or whatever." All
"Oh man,
he went to jail. He got locked up, so it is what it is, or whatever." And it's oh man, that was breaking my heart.
If I would have saw something like that while I my short period in the prison, I would have gotten a lawyer for that person to be able to make something happen for that, because it said, bro, there's no human. Say, bro, the people that sat back and watched this happen to this kid, this guy, this person, is they're probably. They're totally inhumane. How can
it's not like the guy was a pedophile or a mass murderer.
He got misdemeanor battery charge. He was in the county. He was in there only for 3 months. This is not a criminal.
He smacked somebody up.
Screwed anybody up for life ever.
Yes,
And
Yeah,
even then, he wasn't
but
in jail.
yeah,
no,
he wasn't in
but
prison. This is the
but
He
county.
was. It
no,
wasn't over
Chaka,
yet.
we had we had the conversation a few months back about because his biggest crime was not having enough money to be able to bail himself out.
Right. Oh my
And
God.
that's why I got the That's why I've got a DWI on my record. It's because I didn't have enough money to pay off the lawyer to defend me.
That's a
The
terrible system.
$5,000 for him and the $2,500 to the state. They offered me $900 and we're done, so I took it and walked. But it'll always be on my record.
That is so terrible. Those DWIs ain't no freaking joke. Um,
That's why I took $900 and walked.
yeah, that's really bad. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't want to spend much time on this, but I want to Deuce, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, man, I need your comment on
Yeah,
this,
can you
bro.
hear
You're
me?
the only one yeah, we can hear you now. You're the only one out of all of us who've been a CEO. So, what's your take on
Yeah.
this?
Well, I can't really speak to county level. I could just tell you how we handled it. Working for the state of Texas. First of all, their cell would not allowed to be kept in those conditions. If the inmate didn't clean it, he would have been escorted out of his cell. We would have had they call them SSIs. I forget what that acronym stands for, but they're basically inmates that work with the officers that clean up trash. You know, basically they're like janitors. We would have had one of them go in fully suited up, and they would have had the full cleaning supplies and everything to properly cleanse their cell out. And then, first and foremost, an inmate that comes in on chain from county, um, they're housed on a transport line, and when they come in, they're evaluated. So somebody like him would have been evaluated, especially schizophrenia. He would have not been allowed to stay in a general population setting, and just regular prison. He would have been evaluated and sent up immediately. He would have been sent if they couldn't transport him to the one of the medical facilities that we have around the Houston area, which is Jester 3, is the psychiatric prison, which is up around Sugarland area. He would have been escorted to UTMB. He would have been at the UTMB Galveston at their psychiatric ward for a further evaluation, checked out, make sure that there's nothing wrong with him medically. He would have been examined, full body exam, cleansed of properly, bathed the proper way, everything, and then he would have been from there. He would have got transported up to Jester unit or one of the psychiatric units within the state of Texas, where he could get the proper
Wh-
care.
How,
So
Well,
my, my,
well, let me
my
say this
question
though.
is how does an infestation like this happen? Like that's the main thing because th-
the thing about it is, man. Well, like I say, I can't speak for county because from my understanding, most county prisons are usually indoor style prisons. They're AC. They have where I mean not prisons but jails. This here should not have been allowed to happen. This is a prison that clearly or a jail that clearly they don't have the handle on. They're
Well,
allowing for just any and everything to happen. That's just like that, like what
they just
happened
throwing
over in
people in and out of
Mississippi.
there. Yeah,
because they
You
don't
know,
care. They're
they're
making
not.
money. Well, what
Yeah,
I was
they're
gonna
not
say
cleaning
was
it.
in the prisons they seem to follow protocols more. Like there's more eyes
Yeah,
on them.
because
But in the jails,
charges
it's
charges are
different.
filed against you. Like, say for instance, okay, I worked ADSEG, which is short for administration segregation. Okay, I worked with inmates that were either locked up on protective custody, they were gang threat, security threat group members, they were in gangs known to assault, staff and things of that nature. Um, if something happens to one of my inmates and I'm on watch. Say for instance I'm working cell block. They were lettered at the prison I worked at. If I was working cell block C, okay, I got three tiers. And anything happened to one of my inmates on watch, an investigation is immediately launched on me. They're going back on me, dude. They're checking my records. They're checking everything that I'm filing. I have a picket officer that has to watch and monitor and make sure that I'm going up and down my tiers every, 30 minutes, doing, every 30 minutes to an hour. I don't care if the inmate is asleep. If they're laying there asleep, I got to bang on their cell door, their cell, till they uncover their head, lift their head up, and I know that they're there. That
That's
they're
that's
not dead.
that's what they call like pretty much like roll call.
Yeah,
Like
roll
don't
call, observation, because we had a situation where an inmate hung himself. Okay, he hung himself, and the officer was there all night working that cell block. Signed off to the next officer that was coming in that morning that all of the inmates were there, checked out fine. Well, that officer just so happened got there. As soon as you get there, that's first thing you do. You go and you do a head count. You start, most officers, I normally would always start up top and work my way down because I didn't want to be climbing stairs and then got to climb back down. So I would climb up first, and then that way I just work my way back down. And so this officer did like every other officer do, start up top, went up to the third tier. Okay, uh, uh, 8 cells in, he comes across this one inmate, and we don't call him inmates, we call him offender. He was like offender such and such, called out his number and his name, never answered, never answered. He's like, I need you to take the sheet down from in front of your cell, because a lot of inmates like to hang up sheets to either block out the lights that are on the cell blocks, or when they taking a shit or whatever, they'll hang up a sheet or whatever. So no response, no response. So they opened up the slot, the food tray slot, and opened up the food tray slot and was able to yank the sheet down. Yank the sheet down. The dude was sitting up there hanging, bro. It was a white guy. Body was purple, like bluish purple, black, basically.
So it
Had
had
been
been a
there all.
while.
Yeah, he had been there. He had been there. They said that he had been there dead for like 8 hours, and
Mm.
we worked 12-hour shifts. And this officer clearly did do his cell check, because had he done the cell checks, he would have known that this inmate was hanging himself, or had been hung himself.
Yeah.
So that officer, guess what? Charges was brought up against him, and unfortunately, he had to go serve 5 years in prison.
Wow, he went to prison for that.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
that's kind of good to know. But let me say this though, the difference between the prisons and the jails, because it's shorter time periods, and the bureaucracy of like complaining or getting people to improve the conditions is much more difficult, because they're coming and they're going, they're coming and they're going, they're coming and they're going, they're all coming for short stints. So instead of going through all the protocols to try to get things fixed or whatever, they just say, screw it, I'm about to be up out of here anyway, so I'm gonna just deal with this for this month or whatever, and then I'm gonna go home. So I think that's another reason why they have this little gray area to
Well,
allow them to have
well,
horrible facilities
that's
to these
that's
people.
that's certain
but listen,
inmates. Because real
listen.
real offenders don't do that. Real offenders, hey, look here. If he's a true convict that's in and out of the prison and the jail system, when he walk up in the cell and that motherfucker dirty, it can be 3 other cellies in there with him. He gonna get in that mo. He gonna go in that motherfucker. If he a real convict that's on this shit, he gonna go in that fucking cell and he gonna boss some motherfuckers around. Hey, look here, y'all get this shit cleaned up, and he gonna tell the officers, y'all might as well go and put me back in the holding tank. I ain't going in this nasty motherfucker till it's cleaned up. And if they don't, he gonna raise hell all the way up to the sheriff. And once the sheriff come down, buddy, everybody, yeah, y'all gonna get this motherfucker cleaned up.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
you know, you
I ain't no
just,
professional like that, but I know like it's certain things that like and I don't know. I don't know if schizophrenia is totally an excuse, Because I mean, the dude that was getting booked in with me, he had schizophrenia. He, he was pretty coherent. He said he wasn't sure why he got arrested. He said all he knows is something that he said, but at the same time, we had a decent conversation, him and I. So I mean, whether you have it or not, there's certain things that you need to be able to tell the people, the the COs or whoever, whoever's over that section, that hey, this is what's going on. I can't believe that there's no way this guy sat there and just died quietly.
Yeah. Somebody had to be
Nobody
walking
cared.
by there and seen this dude, but say, man, all I know, I ain't ever been to jail in Harris County, but all I know is everybody that was getting ready to take that ride when I was a kid, that was the first thing they asked off. Say, man, y'all not taking me to the city jail, or y'all? I do not want to go to that pissy motherfucker.
So I want to get into the kid who released the secrets, and they're charging him with espionage.
What secrets?
Well, we was talking about it in the last show. I don't know if you was here, but we talked about the stuff that came out.
I might have fallen asleep because
But he got arrested today or yesterday. Hold
this
on.
I must have totally missed.
Why am I not seeing this? Hold on, y'all. I'm on my For You page. Why am I there? Okay. Let me see. Do I have the clip of him? Let me see. I don't know which one I want to show y'all to get us talking about this, because the kid 21 years old, he released his basically secrets. It's all over the news. I know y'all have seen this.
Didn't he release it in like a gaming?
Yeah, it was through a gaming app. Exactly. And it was just some pictures.
Jack Teixeira.
That's his name, or that's the name of the app?
No, that's the guy's name. Jack Teixeira.
Captain Caveman.
Weird just happened.
Sorry, I actually have to have two browsers open right now because I'm using StreamYard in my non-normal one, because I don't want to mess with my search algorithms on. I use different browsers for different searches. That way I can get left, right, and center without having all kinds of weird craziness happen.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. Hold on, I got Tucker Carlson.
Not one question. How can we help you keep it secret? Those were the questions. And not only are the media,
I love it.
Not only are the media covering up the substance of the story, which is not who leaked it, but what he leaked, they're covering up the crimes committed to get you this information. The administration apparently used illegal surveillance techniques to identify this kid, apparently with the help of the Washington Post and the New York Times, who are its accomplices. They're not holding government accountable. They're helping government keep you from knowing what government is doing. Today, the Washington Post reported it had exclusively obtained some of the classified documents this leaker possessed. Quote, the Post also reviewed approximately 300 photos of classified documents, most of which have not been made public. Some of the text documents the leaker is said to have written out. So we've got two problems here. If it's illegal to see these documents, if you don't have a security clearance, how is the Washington Post doing this legally? They don't have a security clearance. Well, obviously they were given them by the U.S. intel agencies and are working alongside them.
So this thing is so interesting all over the place, man. I don't even know where to begin. Like, one of the main parts I wanted to focus on with this story is that, it seems like they care more about who did the leaking than the actual information that came out. And it showed that the U.S. was spying on its people that they're cool with. Like,
I remember when whistleblowers were heroes.
I know what happened. So
especially ones whistleblowers against the government.
This guy got arrested. I wish I could show. I had the damn clip of him getting arrested. I don't know where it
I
is.
mean, they made a whole series of movies based on the name of the informant for the Nixon thing. Oh,
You know,
wrong genre. Sorry.
One of the things,
but you know that also depends on what side of the fence you're on politically, on how that type of thing happens.
well,
If
I
you
don't know.
show the absolute worst thing and prove that the guy that I supported did funked up stuff, I'm okay with it being shown because, yeah, I may be wrong, but I have said the public needs to know. We need to talk about this because we it's not just tear the bandage off the wound anymore. It's we need penicillin for the freaking infection before amputation becomes necessary.
Telling you, some shit needs to be cut the hell off. Let me play this. Do
No,
I have
it's
it?
actually time to put the maggots into the friggin' infected wound and let them eat out the infection.
Bro, you just brought me back to that movie Gladiator. Such a badass movie. I think that movie was perfect from beginning to end. And the actors did a great job. It was a great story. I love that movie.
Horrible. It was horrible historically and a whole lot of stuff like that, but it was a great popcorn movie.
Oh, it was such a great movie. And there's a scene in that where the black guy that he put the maggots on the dude's wound. And that was the first time I had ever seen that. And they used the maggots to clean up the wound.
That's old school. Well, I mean, yeah, that's how old school that is.
They still do that to this day. If you got like an open wound that's not healing properly, the doctors will actually put maggots in there to clean it out.
They grow them in a lab so they don't get possible cross contamination from outside diseases, and they will put living maggots into necrotic flesh.
Or leeches.
Especially if you have penicillin allergies and stuff like that, and get hit with like brown recluse and stuff like that.
Let me read this. It says leaked documents reveal U.S. has been closely spying on UN Security General. This is Democracy Now! It says a newly discovered batch of classified U.S. intelligence documents leaked online reveal the U.S. has been closely spying on UN Security General Antonio Guterres. U.S. intelligence officials accused Guterres of being overly soft on Russian President Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, Germany's foreign minister has urged China to use its influence on Moscow to push for an end to the war, following similar calls from French President Macron and the EU. Other documents show infighting among Russian officials over the war in Ukraine. The documents reveal Russia's Federal Security Service accused the Russian military of downplaying the number of casualties in Ukraine due to the reluctance of officials to convey bad news up the chain of command. You know, some of the other things, it showed that the U.S. was spying on South Korea. I don't want to say it wrong, but like our allies, our friends.
South Korea.
I have some good stuff on this, but I cannot find it. What do y'all know about the story while I'm looking for this?
I don't really know much about this story. I'm getting pieces and pieces now. I think I may have heard some of this stuff, but didn't really get the gist of what was actually happening. So I mean, I can't offer a whole bunch other than the fact of what what we're seeing right here. I mean, we're looking at something where our government, like our continued silence is what's going to enslave us. If you're not careful, we don't speak up about certain things, we allow them to punish other people for giving us information that the government should have given us, period. I mean, in a sense like this, where they're spying on people who are supposedly their allies. I mean, I don't know if that part of it is necessarily as big a story as, because I mean, I guess you want to make sure that the people, in a time like, especially a time like this for the U.S., who, everybody's been against them. They need to, they're trying to figure out who's real with them and all that. Okay, I mean that's fine, but just the fact that somebody is letting people know that they are doing that, I don't know if that really should be a crime. Like it just is what it is. Did you find something? Okay. No,
Yeah, I got something. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up right now. This is not what I had earlier, but it'll work. This should give a gist of it because he got arrested. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, 2 minutes. Let's do this one.
So is
We
he
have my documents.
military?
A member of the Massachusetts National Air Guard has been taken into custody.
Federal authorities identifying him as 21-year-old Jack Teixeira. His arrest comes after the Washington Post released a stunning new interview with the teenager who claims he knows the alleged leaker. ABC's Rena Roy has the breaking details.
A dramatic arrest caught on camera in connection with the Pentagon's leaked documents probe. A man walking out of a Massachusetts home with his hands above his head before he's handcuffed and taken into custody.
Today, the Justice Department arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information.
The National Guard telling ABC they're aware of the investigation into the guardsmen, saying they take it very seriously and will support investigators.
This comes after a teen whose identity was withheld spoke with the Washington Post with permission from his mother, claiming to know the alleged leaker.
First found out that these were made public. It felt like my heart was beating out of its chest. I could not believe that this was happening. We didn't realize the sheer, just immense nature of these leaks.
The teen calling the leaker OG, telling the paper he did not want to disclose OG's identity, location, or military base where he says he works. Instead, describing OG as a charismatic, gun-loving gamer in his early to mid-20s, saying OG began posting classified information to Discord last fall. Their invite-only group with roughly 24 members around the globe was reportedly passionate about guns, military gear, and God.
The documents were often listed as Ukraine versus Russia at first. However, it slowly spiraled into just intelligence about everything.
Those documents rapidly spreading across similar groups, causing a global diplomatic fallout. According to the Post, it's unlikely the leaker intended the information to spread further than that original Discord group.
So, and a lot of repercussions are
We have breaking
coming
news in the Pentagon's leak.
as a result
Put
of
it
this
out there,
leak.
it's out everywhere.
Yeah. And it's mad repercussions happening. And really the US is embarrassed. So
is this guy that's leaking, he's a part of the military?
I want to say he's National Guard.
Yeah, they say he's National Guard, Air National Guard. I don't know how he got access to these documents, ranks, position, or whatever, but he's been posting them in a personal Discord chat group, a shit talking group, amongst them. But people in that group have now reposted the stuff out of the group. And like everything on the internet that shouldn't be done, the more incriminating it is, true or not, the quicker it starts to spread. And once it's out there, there ain't no bringing it back. There ain't no pulling it back.
It's out there, and that's it. Just real quick, because something I saw where they were talking about they criminalizing VPNs.
Unless it's us bombing a pipeline, and then it can be rolled back.
Yeah, well, that's buried, and they won't even cover that story. But everybody knows, and I got a clip on that because they asked Trump. I'm gonna play that after this. They asked Trump who bombed. They asked him who bombed the pipeline. He was like, I don't want to say because I don't want to make our country look bad or whatever. I'm gonna play that after this. But let me play this right quick.
How bad can it be when Trump is afraid to get Hillaried?
Let me play this right here. This is not the Trump clip.
Those
This
documents.
is what was in the document supposedly. Let's see.
The Justice Department now launching a criminal investigation of an apparent major Pentagon intelligence leak.
Come on. Come on. That's why I don't like to use YouTube no more.
Dozens of classified U.S. intelligence documents, most marked top secret, were leaked and posted online back in late February and early March. Most of those documents we simply cannot show. ABC has not yet authenticated the leaked documents, and we don't have official confirmation whether the documents have been altered. But sources say they exposed the United States for spying not just on its adversaries, but also its allies, like Israel, South Korea, and even Ukraine. Experts say the leaked documents not only tell our enemies how the U.S. collects intelligence, but also contain clues that could potentially point to the sources and methods the U.S. used to obtain the information.
Apparently, there's some code words here that point to where the analysis came from. This means that it makes it much easier for the Russians to go back and do the counterintelligence work.
The leaked documents forcing allies to respond. South Korea's president downplaying the situation, saying the documents need to be verified first, but that the country will take appropriate measures with the U.S. if necessary. And in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pushing back after documents suggested leaders of Israel's spy agency, the Mossad, had encouraged angry protests against his proposed judicial reforms.
If our allies do not trust us to safeguard their secrets or intelligence that they provide us, they may be more hesitant to provide us intelligence in the future.
As for Ukraine, the leaked documents paint a detailed image of the Ukrainian battlefield on March 1st, showing troop movements, training schedules, and casualty numbers. Over the weekend, U.S. officials were scrambling to reassure its allies and partners. As for Ukraine, they're blaming Russia for the leak, while Russia is pointing to the United States as the source. Ike Ajachi, ABC News.
It's a lot of fallout with this, man. This was all down my timeline because even the documents themselves were on my Twitter. I saw a lot of stuff, and different, leaders around the world are making comments. This is a really big deal.
The incompetence of our.
Well, they're not talking about the incompetence. They're talking about the information, and what it reveals, and what does it mean, and all of this stuff. You got this spy versus spy stuff going on. It really hurts because they now the people that they were spying on know that they got a mole or whatever. The repercussions are endless.
It threatens our people in the field and their families here back home because their identities can be pulled. Yeah, we do.
And we do. And one of the things,
if we didn't, we'd be ignorant because you're not going to tell me every single country that is our ally and enemy is not doing the same thing.
And one of the things that was in there was showing that we have troops in Ukraine.
I know,
actual troops.
But that's the whole thing. We're not supposed to, okay, we can act from the outside to kind of.
But they're not. They didn't tell the people that. They lied to us about that.
Of course.
That was
amongst other things.
That's why they sent all that weaponry over there.
Technically, it's not troops.
What?
Technically, it's not troops there. It's a protective garrison for a building or facility or compound.
Oh, okay.
So technically, it's not troops. It is a protector of military U.S. assets.
Yeah,
all right.
That's bullshit.
You sound like
you know what?
You sound like those guys.
I'm just stating the reality that they wish us to know.
Yeah. So I saw this one with his kid who died. He said, "I'm going over here to kill some Russians." He got killed by shrapnel. That was on my timeline.
That's the reality of them telling you, "Oh no, that's not piss, that's rain, buddy."
Yeah.
Like I said, the reality they wish us to know.
Let me play because I mentioned Trump.
That's not a rainbow. That's Skittles.
Let me play this Trump clip. Check it.
Pull up the Nord Stream pipeline.
I don't want to get our country in trouble.
Really? That you don't think that was enough?
I won't answer it.
I'm telling you, that answer was the answer, bro.
Pull up the Nord Stream pipeline.
See, people don't realize that as a
I don't
former
want to get our country in
president,
trouble.
he is
So I won't.
also privy to these daily security briefings for the nation.
Yeah.
He still gets them, just like 44, just like Clinton. They all get this thing about what's going on in the world, what the biggest threats are, what's going. Like I said, he is so afraid of talking about it, and you can tell that hesitation wasn't. That hesitation to me was the first time I've ever seen him back down because he was a little afraid of something.
Yeah, man, that's what struck me about this clip. The way he stutters.
I really feel with his body language is like, I would tell you about this, but I don't want to get Hillaried.
He wants to tell it. Let me play the full clip. Hold on.
Pull up the Nord Stream.
What is getting Hillary? That's a new one for me.
You know, like the guy that committed suicide by shooting himself in back of the head twice in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Oh,
getting Hillaried. The 43 people that have had evidence against the Clintons who have mysteriously committed suicide or died.
And there's a lot of documents out there where a lot of people die mysteriously.
It's a way of saying delete yourself. It's a way of saying delete yourself, being funny and tying it that. It's turning it into a verb. Like Houston has earned its own verb. That dude just Enroned that company.
Right.
No, I got you. I hear what you said because I don't know if I ever used.
Yeah, getting Hillaried is delete yourself.
Yeah.
Because you knew too much.
Right. You die in mysterious circumstances.
Yeah, I've actually heard.
They call it
I think I used
suicided.
it, getting suicided. Yeah, that's what
It's
I'm
basically the
saying.
same.
See, no, I don't want to use that SUI word because that's one of the filter words.
Trigger word. It is
I'm trying to train myself out of that because that is a algorithm search word for the auto delete bots.
Let me play the full clip, y'all. Let me play
Pull
it.
up the Nord Stream pipeline.
I don't want to get our country in trouble, so I won't answer it. But I can tell you who it wasn't was Russia. How about when they blamed Russia? You know, they said Russia blew up their own pipeline. You got a kick out of that one too. It wasn't Russia.
That was hilarious.
Pull up the Nord Stream.
We all of us were like, okay, of all possibilities in every reality, yeah, that's not one of them.
Because it would make zero sense.
Yeah. I mean, I
the
think
only way I would believe that they did it is if somehow there was direct tie or something that would have been left evidence to tie it to someone else that was too thin to get to. If they did a bad job of setting somebody else up, would be the only way I could possibly believe they did it.
Let me play a couple more Trump clips here. Let me play this one.
Who's the biggest problem? Is it China, North Korea? No, I said the biggest problem is from within. It's these sick, radical people from within, because we can handle, if we're smart, we can handle Russia, China. I did. Who's the biggest?
He said the biggest problem is coming from within. It's not Russia or China.
It's true. That's true.
And you know,
I agree.
Biden agrees. I mean, if you listen to some of his speeches, he has said the biggest threat to democracy is our own people who think this way. Our people who don't think without the ouchie.
But he was pointing at the opposite side though. He wasn't talking about
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter though. He's saying he's saying specific people. 45, he's not saying it is this side or that side. He's saying it is from within. Our leader, current potato in chief, is telling us it's these certain people.
Which I wouldn't trust, just mainly because he's the one saying that.
I think because he's the potato in chief, that him saying that in and of itself is a reason to not trust him as a politician.
Well,
he's placing the blame on a certain part of the population. He is actually blaming and saying that part of the very country that elected him is the problem the entire country has.
Because for him, he's been trying to make a case that, for one, you know, our country, you know, our problems are more solvable if we didn't have the changes in leadership every 4 years. Like as far as presidential, like they think that our country will be led better by if we did the same thing that China is doing or Russia is doing. You know, like they have people who's in office for 10 years or so at a time.
Yeah, they want to pop term limits off of the chief position, which is they want to go back to 3 terms.
3 terms,
which scares me. They remember that was a big push in 44's 6th year. Obama's 6th year, they literally tried to get a constitutional amendment to allow a 3rd term so he could be elected again.
No, yeah, and that would have been horrible.
Yeah, they only got like 22 states out of needing like 38 or something.
Because see, my thing is, if the president was actually able to run the country based on their own personal agendas, Obama may have been better for the job. But because he has people that owned him and pushed him in certain directions, that that's why he didn't do as well as he potentially could have done. But
I think the presidents have been owned and or rented since Kennedy or before.
Well,
Kennedy didn't play with them. Kennedy didn't play with him, so he had to be taken out.
Okay, because I would say just the idea that he had to be taken out lets us know that he didn't follow the bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. From then or before, for sure, is when I start seeing agenda control over population control.
Well, I mean, see, a lot of the problems that we're dealing with today, a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with today is things that JFK, like if you go back and listen to some of his
I agree with that.
His speeches. Like all of the stuff that we're dealing with right now,
he was
is
a
some of the
speaker
things
like
that
Obama
he
before.
was trying to, he was trying to protect us from then.
Yeah. Let's do this. I'm kind of all over the place. I had this organized. I thought I did, but I started the show late, so I'm not on my P's and Q's today. But did y'all hear about the all the cows that died in Texas? It was explosion.
Explosion.
Yeah, this was a big story right here too. So April 13th, 2023. This is RT. It says explosion kills 18,000 cows. A fire at a Texas dairy farm has resulted in one of the largest mass cattle deaths in U.S. history. An explosion at the Texas farm on Monday resulted in a massive fire that led to the deaths of a staggering 18,000 cows. Local officials have described the loss as the biggest single incident death of cattle in the U.S. recorded history. County Judge Mandy G. Feller told USA Today that the explosion at the South Fork Dairy Farm near the city of Dimmitt may have been caused by a faulty piece of farm equipment. She added that local fire officials are still investigating. The dairy farm had reportedly opened in the area just over 3 years ago and employed 50 to 60 people. There were no human casualties in the fire and only one person was injured. He was taken to the hospital where he was reported to be in critical but stable condition as of Tuesday. I don't know about that. I heard that there was one person that died in this. So maybe it's that person they're talking about critical condition. So maybe he died later. Because G. Feller stated that the most of the 18,000 cows that perished were located in a large holding pen waiting to be milked when the fire broke out. The animals represented about 90% of the farm's total herd, according to the official. She noted that each cow was valued at roughly $2,000, meaning South Fork dairy losses in livestock could amount to tens of millions of dollars, even before equipment and structural damage are included. Let me read some more. An associate of the Animal Welfare Institute, a Washington-based advocacy group, has claimed that the incident easily surpasses all records since it began tracking barn and farm fires in 2013. The previous record was established in 2020 when a fire at an upstate New York dairy farm killed some 400 cows. State and dairy officials are conflicted on how to deal with the task of cleaning up 18,000 charred carcasses, while the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality provides certain guidelines on burying animals, such as placing them at least 15 meters from any water wells. It does not account for mass graves, USA Today noted. Dimmitt's Mayor Roger Malone told the outlet that although it has taken emergency and management courses that teach how to dispose of animal carcasses after disaster, it has never had to apply to such a large scale. How do you dispose of 18,000 carcasses? That's something you just don't run into very much. So, but there's a lot to this as far as the way.
One hell of a barbecue.
This is weird. Like, this is strange to me because, like, for one, they said it was 50 to 60 people that worked there, but only one person was injured in a massive explosion like this. And they said that they were waiting to milk the cow. So who the hell was finna milk them if nobody was there to get hurt for this? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, automation and stuff. Where was it? What was the explosion? I mean, what was the methane vents not working and something got sparked? I mean, is this going to turn into a 18,000 cows killed because of the methane? Imagine the CO2 that they put out. Guess what? This is why we need better environmental climate controls for the cattle industry, and why you're a bad person because you eat meat.
Well, that's the other thing. How is it going to affect like milk prices or whatever? We had the egg situation not that long ago.
Kroger, I'll tell you right now, Kroger milk from last week to tonight, because I went there. Let's see, Sunday when I got off of work, milk was $2.19 a gallon. I went there tonight; it was $3.19 a gallon for the generic Springdale Farms Kroger milk. So I don't know if it was this or not that did it.
I'm gonna be quiet because whatever I say is
conspiracy theory. You're a local conspiracy theorist. You are a resident conspiracy theorist. No, but this one does sound fishy, right? This one does sound fishy to me. That's the reason why I wanted to cover it, is because it sounds fishy. You know, I don't know. Insurance, like what's going on with this story? How the hell did this happen? You know, it just doesn't sound like it was. I mean, I'm not gonna say it wasn't an accident. I'm just saying there's more to this story. It jumps out at me as like there's more to this.
I want, my thing is I'm gonna ask some questions that maybe people should ask themselves. It's like, you know, is it a possibility that, because I mean, based on some of the things that we've been hearing about where our food is headed, because it's been some experiment that went wrong, and the only way to get rid of this horrible, you know, thing was to blow it up. Like, I mean,
contaminated stock, livestock, or the milk.
Well, I would say in total, because I mean, some of these things, because the experiments that they did on humans now is going to the cows, like, and even the genetic makeup of certain foods is going to be affected by the same technology that you know they was just testing on humans. And guess what? The emergency thing that allowed them to give this thing to you without enough study is gone now. So you go and take it now. There's really no reason for, like, you know what I'm saying, you really doing this on your own. But I mean, some people are still promoting it as if it's a good thing, but majority of it proves that it's not. So if you're just not informed enough and you're still making decisions just based on your trust for what other people have to say, God bless you.
no matter how informed I am never going to be informed enough. I am always finding out new stuff that challenges exactly what I'm thinking from day to day. That's why sometimes I'll come on and you'll see me or you'll hear me and I'm like, hey, yeah. And then I'll find something out and I'll go, hey, dudes, guess what? You know, or I'll seem to soften on a subject. Like a lot of my friends right now are really upset with me how I've softened on some of the transgender stuff and things like that. But I haven't, because I've always had a certain level of let your freak flag fly. But, you know.
Hey, that's offensive. You can't call those people freaks.
Absolutely, you can say it like that. But when the parade gay guy looks at someone, grabs a fire extinguisher and goes, dude, chill out.
I'm saying
that's when it's time for me to start talking about stuff like that.
And I agree with you, Doc.
I love me my parade gay guys. I do. I love me my flamers too.
The more I learn about stuff, the less confident I am in like what I know. Like it's so crazy how I don't know. I guess I feel more ignorant the more I learn. Like it's weird.
I mean, the main thing is, you know, having multiple perspectives is nothing wrong with it. It gives you more ammunition to make a decision. Like actually, like I mean, I think, you know, pros and cons to any and everything, and based on you and your own, you know, like needs or your, you know, just based on you and living your life, maybe, you know, doing opposite of what I would do is the best thing for you.
Whatever he do, I'm doing the opposite.
I'm going to tell you, it has done nothing but what how can I say, strengthen my beliefs, but make me question my decisions more about how I express my beliefs to other people, about how I accept their weirdness into my belief system, and realize that we have to figure this out, or at least I have to get to a point where I'm not going to like split your head with an axe like my ancestors used to do.
Well, I'm just gonna say this for people out there that you know that go out there, it's a no-brainer. Scared the fuck out of me because everything
like
is
they already know. And
no, everything is a brainer. I don't give a shit what like you need to think the shit over.
Right.
Man, absolute belief in anything, in any system or belief is not honor. It is actually going to religion. It's a sin. It's arrogance.
Let me cover this right quick. And that's why this show is good, because it expands people's perspective, especially mine. This shit is like therapy. Let me read this, though. It's kind of on the topic. It says, the United States aims to develop a universal genetically engineered biological weapon capable of infecting not only people but animals, as well as agricultural crops.
And this is how we get the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this the same thing that I just said?
Maybe similar. I got an article. Let me go to it right quick.
Because maybe they're trying to tell you without actually telling you.
They're trying to find a way to infect a people's food supply, farmland, or something like that, and then target them racially.
That's what I was thinking. I ain't gonna
Chinese be able to do, or say, if it's the Russians, see, there's a whole lot of European and stuff like that bloodlines that come through here and things. But they could start with, like, say, the South American genetic traces. Bam, there goes a big chunk of people that they don't have to worry about anymore. You know, you got Chinese. Now, here's a really good one. What happens when you get the mad scientist that says, I'm going to make a virus that will kill everyone with the blood of Genghis Khan?
That's scary stuff.
Boom, 5% of the entire world's population, at least. Sorry, I write that. That's the stuff I do. Games, Dungeons and Dragons games, superhero games, spy game, whatever it may be. That's the kind of stuff that I think of. And the bad thing is, it is not just fantasy anymore. They've got these little bioprinter things where people can print parts of genes. And you can get a hold of these not unreasonable in price and things like that. I mean, we couldn't just walk down to the corner store and get one. But, you can't just walk down to the corner store and get a firearm either for the most part.
They mapped the human genome some years ago, like completely mapped it.
They finally got all the way.
And that really opened the door to a lot of possibilities. You would think they would use it in a positive way.
My whole superhero world and stuff like that starts out from the day that they mapped the very last gene. They found out that the last gene was the gene, and it was the one that codified stuff, and they were able to make superheroes based off of that.
But listen, let me ask you, what is the biggest biochemical weapon available?
Water.
Diseases. Some kind of disease. Some kind of disease.
The water supply.
Water and food. Food and water is the main way, like biologically, to weaponize. And it was, because yet they're using chemicals to do it. So you're right too, Chaco. But at the same time, like that's how that's how they're manipulating, killing people. The GMO.
Hero boys with boobies. GMO.
Some of the first GMOs, because we've been dealing with GMOs for centuries already.
Technically, since the first time they put two plants together that had a better growth rate than the other ones, they started splitting seeds like that. We were dealing with genetically modifying crops.
That's why people got to be clear about understanding what it really means, because it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Scientific.
It's part of the reason why we're able to have so many humans on the planet, because we're able to manipulate the food in a ways to.
Yeah, I'm not talking about more efficient farming process. I'm talking about chemical and genetic modification to where they no longer produce seeds.
Yeah,
so you have
that's bad.
Back to them.
When they did that,
to all algae, fungi, to where
that shit is bad.
So you don't have to use.
They even put shit in there to make its own insecticides. Like it produces its own insecticides and shit. Like it just
those were the words I was trying to say.
Yeah, they went too far. Let me read some of this.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me read some of this. So this is the article. It says U.S. working on universal genetically engineered bioweapon, Russian parliamentary investigation. So Sputnik International is the website. Ilya Sukhanov, I guess that's the author. It says Russian lawmakers have completed an investigation into Washington's military-related biological activities at laboratories across Ukraine on the basis of findings made public by Russian radiation, chemical, and biological defense troops over the past year. Washington is working on a universally genetically engineered bioweapon designed to cause severe damage to enemies comparable to that of nuclear winter, a Russian parliamentary commission investigating U.S. biolabs in Ukraine has concluded. It says the United States aims to develop a universally genetically engineered biological weapon capable of infecting not only people but animals as well as agricultural crops. Its use involves, among other things, the goal of inflicting large-scale and irreparable economic damage on the enemy, the commission wrote in its final report. The covert good question. Let me read this. It says the covert and targeted use of such a weapon in anticipation of a positive, inevitable, direct military confrontation could create a significant advantage for U.S. forces over the adversary, even against those who possess other types of weapons of mass destruction. The commission added, The possession of such highly effective biological weapons creates, in the view of the U.S. military, the real prerequisites to change the nature of contemporary armed conflicts. The Commission report indicated that, unfortunately, contemporary scientific advancements in the field of genetic engineering, biotechnology, toxicology, and synthetic biology have increased the possibilities of their use to create advanced biological weapons agents of a new generation. At the same time, that detecting and identifying their use using traditional diagnosis tools has become extremely difficult. The situation is aggravating by the fact that the production of such biological agents can easily be dispersed over various industrial enterprises, disguising them as products used for peaceful purposes, the document noted.
You know, I mean, when it comes to this whole idea, because I mean, you know, I have different ways of seeing some of these things, and you know, a lot of times I feel like us, the people of the United States, are the enemy, and not outside people. Because I mean, just look at how our government actually treats us, you know, compared to other places.
I know we're the enemy. The president told us that we're the enemy. The president actually addressed me because I am one of those people he was talking about and said, I am an enemy of democracy.
Yeah.
My own potato in chief right now called me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I mean, because I mean, and you're saying the enemies of democracy. I mean, you know,
Because I don't agree with
even well, yeah, I know. Because I mean, honestly, that's the you know one of the questions that I I don't think I posted it. I thought about it, but the question I had is, you know, I guess to my friends that you know don't really understand where I sit politically is like, is it possible for someone to agree with the democracy but don't agree with Democrats? You know, like it's like the people who are supposedly standing up for what democracy should be or what it's supposed to be are not the people who should be representing it, mainly because they're not honest. Like they have an alternative motive, and you know, like having the two-party system is already a screwed up thing because like it's just one side against the other. You know, I don't know if multiple parties would help. You know, maybe that would make even a bigger problem. But we mostly have a republic, and if people like republic means to the people, like it's back to the public, republic. So we have to be more like the government. If they're not actually doing what the people need
We
or
are a
want,
democratic nation, not necessarily a democratic people.
well, the
And
thing
that is a
about it is,
this is a good thing, mind you, I'm saying.
to some extent, because I think that it becomes too radical when you know, like when we're trying, you know, like we're putting up more laws on the people, and you know, like certain things should, you know, like anyone should be protected under the basic laws of the republic. I mean, because that really gives the people the chance to do what they want. But then, you know, okay, somebody wants to have their, you know, same sex, you know, relationship. A republic doesn't stop that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they're doing all these different things to try to
A
control
republic
the
is supposed
mind.
to go, here is the base laws, like high school. Here is the base knowledge. Everything from here, as
For you to
states,
govern
as
yourself.
individual people, you guys are on your own.
Well, and just yeah, and
Your values are your own. And we're not going to allow people in Miami to force people in northern
LA.
Idaho to live by the same values because the world is actually different for them.
Well, yeah. I
As a
mean, that's
republic, as their state, as sovereign, as a sovereign state, I mean, we are basically broken into an empire with a whole bunch of kingdoms. And all the kingdoms have their own little ideas of the way things should go and the laws that they want to live by. And as long as they play within this umbrella banner of the empire of the United States of the Republic, all is well.
Well, I mean, but I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of things that's been happening. Like there's people moving from one area because they don't like one thing. Like they like all of this, certain things about this state, but other things they don't. And then when
Or they're intentionally moving to try to change laws across the entire United States.
I would think, I to some extent, I really believe
This
that
is
they
the
are trying to
warfare.
have an impact on the way that other people live, based on because there's certain principles that one
Do you know that
form of
Texas is
government
about
lives
to
on.
become a battleground state, right?
I know that, and that's the whole thing. Like, I mean, California, like, has run itself into a freaking hole, and those people that's in California are running from California because of their, I guess them, I guess what their core beliefs are making them suffer actually. But then
Because
they
they can't
to
afford to live there.
well,
Because the industry, the
why?
tech industries, all those industries are moving to Texas. They're moving
Why?
into the red states because
Yes.
they don't get taxed so much. Because
Okay.
they can go and buy a little town in the middle of nowhere, build some satellite receivers around it, get high-speed internet, get everyone in the local county and stuff like that working online, and then get a whole bunch of people to move in to create a tax base.
I understand that, and I get it. I mean, yeah, economically it makes sense, but when you're also trying to bring in certain, other things that these people, like you're affecting the way of life for others because of selfishness. Like, all right, I want the monetary system of this state, but I want the, whatever, like they want to change the life of
Yeah, I
another
want the
state.
taxes here, but I want my lifestyle and my federal benefits to be like there.
Yes,
But I don't want to pay as much for it.
pretty much.
So the FBI has flagged terms like based and red pill online with extremism.
Okay, based. What is based? Does based means you are against it, or based means you're for it?
I had to look that up when I was watching this video because
It's such a recent term, and by recent I say 9 months to a year. I mean, you got to realize I'm still trying to fight the word plug instead of hookup.
BASED, based.
Based.
Yeah.
BASED.
I don't get it.
I had to look it
like
up.
Hitler was
What
based.
does it
Bernie
mean?
is based.
Or do you mean BASTED?
BASED. Based. Like based
So
on.
like a foundation.
Yeah, like spelled like that word. Said like that word.
Okay, because I mean the way you just used it, I would have, maybe been BASTED, like you being based, like
Yeah, just you need
a
to be thrown in
turkey.
the fire for talking about them.
Yeah.
So it's saying, okay, let me read this. It says, based has been appropriated by the alt-right online as a general term of praise, as if unwoke.
Okay, yeah. I need more information than it's an alt-right phrase.
Say
I had something better than that.
'Cause I've
I
seen
looked,
it used by both sides.
I looked
Yeah.
it up because I didn't know, but
People
'cause
don't
I-
understand that when the right is talking woke, they are speaking about being woke. There's woke and there's wokeness. And that's one of those conversational lines that's not understood because they're both sides are trying to use it. Woke is not the problem. Wokeness is.
Well, listen, because the whole thing is woke or wokeness is like an ideology, like people trying to fit in, trying to be cool. That most people who go with the woke identity is still sleep. Like they really don't understand the world and what's really happening.
Well, they're
For
saying I'm woke and you're not, and the thing is, the right is trying to say, well, woke is bad, but they're not saying woke as I understand is bad. They're saying the crap you're trying to push on us is what we don't want, and that's wokeness.
Yeah,
So
it's all confusion, and it really makes no sense in the like when we really get to the core of it, it makes no sense because somebody who's woke doesn't claim it. Like they're just like they living it. They know, like, dealing with the average person that supposedly understand this, that, and the third really hasn't like they still got matter in their eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's one of the things that when it comes up in a conversation online or in real life, I do the same thing that I do here and say, hey guys, wait, hold on, let's stop for a second. Where do we agree and where do we don't agree?
right, so we can be clear. Let me read this. It says,
and let's start our conversation from what we agree on.
let me read this. It says, based is a slang expression which conveys the meaning similar to agreeable and worthy of support. The expression originates from Lil B's nickname, Based God, and is often used to positively comment on memes, and opinions that conflict with mainstream socio-political trends and can be deemed offensive and inappropriate by general public. So I think that's a better, clear understanding of what it means online. So that's weird though, because that term I didn't know. But
so basically, when you say that's based, you're saying I agree with that.
Connotative
Right.
linguistics.
So I mean, I just wanted to mention that because that was one of the things. Because the other one is red pilled, and we use that. I mean, I use that. I don't know if I actually comment red pilled, but I get that.
Here's
I
another
understand.
thing. Here's another thing that you got to ask when we're talking about red pilled and blue pilled. Are we talking about you have taken the liberal blue path or the right red path, or have you
They're
taken
both
the
the
blue
same.
pill and chosen to remain within the matrix, or
It's the
taken
same
the
thing.
red pill and chosen to remove yourself from the matrix to the next level?
It equals the same thing.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you said earlier, Doc. Is like whenever people use comments like this, we got to be like, okay, so what are we talking about here? You know, what actually are we?
Well, you
Where
can
do
try
we
to
agree?
you can try to do that.
Let's start our base and let's build from there.
Okay.
So, but anyways, the FBI is flagging these terms, and they're making people. They're saying these people, if you use these terms online, then you're under their eye as an extremist.
Either way.
Dude,
So
they've been watching me since I was friggin' 17 and got called in by the cops because a short story I wrote about a robbery got used.
Yeah, so what it's good for people to know that if they're using these terms, the FBI is watching you. You're on their list as an extremist.
yeah, but
I used to try to track serial
those are fear
killers
tactics.
online.
Listen, those are fear tactics because, like, you know, anytime that you support something that they're not like, they don't want the people to necessarily to gravitate to a certain thing. It's gonna get demonized. They're gonna find ways to try to, you know, at least keep you from saying. Because regardless of, I mean, to me, it's like, okay, you're banning words, or you know, trying to hypersensitize certain words, but you know, you're not changing the way people think. Like if you actually want people to see the world differently, Like you have to do things differently, or we have to be different than what we were if you want the people to really change. And that's not something that they necessarily are invested in. They're more so they want the control. So if they can continue, especially if we're talking about leftist ideology. It's more of a try to make you fearful, so they can get you to stop saying that certain thing, but it's only going to make you find another way to express what you feel.
Also, if we make these terms bad, if we make these terms illegal, searchable, what are you going to do? You're going to start entering it into your other search engines, your non-left, your non-tracked search engines, or at least tracked by the same people. And then all of a sudden, now since that word is trending there, that gives more credibility when a certain other side says, see, it's trending on the alt left or right news sites. We told you it was bad and now it's trending. That just proves it, doesn't it?
The internet is the opposite. It always have an opposite reaction. So I don't know, man.
Every day is opposite day on the internet.
So, but I
Except
can't
April
stay on
Fool's.
too much longer because I work all day tomorrow. I really apologize for coming on late. So there's one more topic I want to cover before we go, but let me ask y'all. I sent some videos this week. What did any of them? Did y'all catch any of them, or did anything stick out to y'all, or whatever?
I don't know about necessarily sticking out, but I watched pretty much all the videos y'all put out there.
Yeah. I recently sent one, the one about the fascism. Did y'all catch that one? I think that was today.
That was today. Yeah, those are some videos I've seen before, and it's always good to kind of see as a good reminder, and try to quantify the actual things that what I'm seeing now, opposed to what I saw when I saw this video 5 years ago. What my perception of things were and how I see it now. So it's like, bro, it's so evident, and then these stuff is back from the 40s, bro.
Yeah.
Like this is stuff that they was warning people back then, and somehow it's still.
It works. The stuff it works, and people forget about it. And the part that divide and conquer, that's why I text that when I sent the video, because that's what it makes me think about this video, is how he said that they didn't have the power to be able to like control these people or whatever, so they had to break them into a bunch of little bitty pieces, and that's how they were able to conquer them.
Yeah, but see, and then the effect, I mean, because it was very impactful, like for the guy in the video, that he was like, wait a minute, now he's talking about me, because he agreed with everything they were saying at the time, and then when they start talking about where he fit in at, then he was butthurt. Then it's like, wait a minute, he's talking about me.
Right. That's very important, because they come for if you let them come for whoever group, who's to say you're not next? I say that all the time, and then it's like,
We've been watching it for the last 2 years on the left,
and we have to pay it.
People that were champions during the lockdowns are slowly getting eaten by the cult.
Bedbugs.
We have to pay attention to what's happening, because they're separating us. We're fighting about left, right, or Republican, Democrat, or black, white, or gay, straight, or whatever.
Left and right, the
But-
black,
but
the
listen.
white, the rich, the poor.
Listen,
no matter
I'm
how
telling.
it is, it's always going to be more.
But see, that's one of my biggest issues with the left, because like I said, I mean, like I identify with a bunch of the ideology of democracy, but at the same time, the people who are representing it makes me hate it.
But you can't identify. That's the thing with the identity
I don't
politics.
identify Republicans as anti-democracy.
But which is not true, because see, the whole thing is, if it wasn't for the Republicans, like the people who, like, because I mean, yeah, we're not all monolithic. Everybody that's that's conservative, because I mean, yeah, I would rather say more conservative, because that's more so where I live. I'm, but the as far as democracy, like you can be a conservative Democrat and you can be a conservative Republican. It doesn't really matter. But when you're really looking at the overall scope of things, like things change, and people that represented one thing, like sometimes they use that group to disguise their real agendas. So that's what the people need to be really, like really pay attention to, is because if you're sticking with a group of people because of, you like the way it sounds when it rolls off your mouth, oh, I'm a Democrat, oh, I'm a Republican, like you're getting screwed, because
if you get caught up in those identities, like a person can't be the face of the party or the face of the movement or the face of left or the face of right or whatever, and you get caught up on that, and then you're not trying to hear any of the ideas that's coming from that side because you're caught up in the identity of the person who, I don't know, represents it or whatever.
Yeah, because you're mostly getting caught up by an assumption because of what you believe or what you think something stands for, and the overall. Because I mean, when we look at the basis, democracy has a definition. A republic, a republic is defined in what it stands for, what it means, or whatever. But the people that are utilizing these titles are, they're making you.
Too many of the people that we vote to be our representatives think that they are our leaders.
Yes.
And then a lot of us.
Too many of those people that we have voted into that position do not love our country. They don't like it.
And a lot of us see them as our leaders. We give away our power to them. And like, okay, they're our leader. Even if we didn't vote for them or whatever, it's like, oh, that's our leader, so we got to follow them or whatever the hell. Like, I don't think that way.
That's the majority of people. No, I understand.
None of us here think that way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know you don't, but at the same time, it's necessary for us to have this discussion because the majority of people see it that way, and that they're looking to them for answers instead of us being the ones to give them the answer.
Like because they feel like they're not smart enough.
We're supposed to be giving them the marching orders of what they should be doing.
That's how it's supposed to go.
But
it's the other way around.
Okay, I guarantee you, both of you guys have this thing that pops up in your little reel feeds all the time. And it's something along the lines of, I remember back in the day that the government was never supposed to know anything about you, but you were supposed to know everything about the government. Now, these days, the government knows everything about you.
And
so,
you're not
see, every one of us, that's popping up in our time feed, right?
Yeah.
Because none of us have said that here in the show.
And that's weird.
But that's
a common thing. Our algorithm, see, that's where I'm saying.
Yes.
No matter how much we piss each other off on what we don't agree on, we all have a common ground. And that's the thing, is the people cannot find their common ground because they're making sure that we fight over the stupid shit.
Right.
To where we don't agree on the base. Once we build a foundation of who we are, what we want, then it becomes the America all of us resembled it, we love.
And a good example of that is that video that you sent on the time in the group chat about the different denominations of Christianity. And that damn same video was going down my timeline. I didn't click on it, but I almost did like a couple of times. And it's really weird that you sent it in the group chat. That's why I was texting about that, because I was like, it struck me because I didn't click on that video, but I almost did like 3 times.
Check out that Ren video. The song ran, the one that I was talking about mental health. Listen to this song.
Yeah, I didn't. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't.
You need to.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I am not joking. Okay. Were you moved by the Who video that I sent?
Yeah.
This guy's gonna move you too.
Yeah. I'm gonna check it out when I have time. My time is limited as hell. But I did watch the Christian Denomination video.
It's a song. You don't actually have to watch. You don't actually have to watch it, but watching it helps because you see him switch from. I mean, he's a guy that's talking to his dark half, and his dark half is they're arguing back and forth in the video.
Interesting. I'm gonna check it out.
You can hear the transitions, but watching it, it's a very haunting appeal and look. Watching it actually emphasizes it and makes it more vivid, but hearing it is enough.
Let me play some of this video, the one that we was talking about, and we're gonna wrap on the comments of this. So this one is it says, "Don't be a sucker," 1947, post World War II anti-fascist educational video.
Mm-hmm.
Henry here got on the train with $200. He couldn't see any harm in a friendly game of cards. What if the other men were strangers? And take Joe Collins. He's got a nice wife at home. But he met this girl at the bar, and she looked, after the first couple of drinks.
That's like welcome to New York.
There's a good old-fashioned word for people like us. We call them suckers. And there are other people. People who stay up nights figuring out how to take away what they've got. There are all kinds of games. Mike here, for instance. He's got
Damn it.
everything. He's young. He's healthy. Got a job. And he's got plenty of food. Big factories to make things a man can use. Big cities to do the business of a big company. And people. Lots of people. Enough to work the farm and build the factories.
Damn it.
Dig the mines. Run the business. All kinds of people. People from different countries with different religions.
Give it a click and a pause for a second. Let it preload a little bit.
Yeah. Find out why. Fuck you.
Different colored skins. Free people. They can live together and work together and build America together because they're free. Free to vote, to say what they please, go to their own churches, to pick their own jobs. Yeah, Mike's got something, all right. He's got America. But there are guys who stay up nights figuring out how to take that away from him.
I happen to know the facts. Now, friends, I'm just an average American. But I'm an American. And some of the things I see in this country of ours make my blood boil. I see people with foreign money. I see Negroes holding jobs that belong to me and you. Now I ask you, if we allow this thing to go on, what's going to become of us real Americans?
I've heard this kind of talk before, but I never expected to hear it in America.
This fellow seems to know what he's talking about.
What are we real Americans going to do about it? You'll find it right here in this little pamphlet. The truth about Negroes and foreigners. The truth about the Catholic Church.
Do you believe in that kind of talk?
I don't know, makes pretty good sense to me.
And I tell you, friends, we'll never be able to call this country our own until it's a country without. Without what? Yeah, without what? without Negroes, without alien foreigners, without Catholics, without Freemasons. You know these
Oh,
things.
what's wrong with the Masons? I'm a Mason.
Well, that's where
Hey,
he
that fella's
lost.
talking about me.
And that makes a difference, doesn't it?
These are your enemies. These are the people who are trying to take over our country. Now you know them. You know what they stand for. And it's up to you and me to fight them. Fight them and destroy them before they destroy us. Thank you.
Before he said Masons, you were ready to agree with him.
Well, yes, but he was talking about, what about those other people?
But in this country, we have no other people. We are American people.
What about you? You aren't American, are you?
I was born in Hungary, but now I am an American citizen. And I have seen what this kind of talk can do. I saw it in Berlin.
What were you doing there?
I was a professor at the university.
I was working.
I heard the same words we have heard today. But I was a fool then. I thought Nazis were crazy people, stupid fanatics. But unfortunately, it was not so. You see, they knew that they were not strong enough to conquer a unified country. So they split Germany into small groups. They used prejudice as a practical weapon to cripple the nation. Of course, that was not easy to do. They had to work hard to do it. You see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us, made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk. Somebody is going to get something out of it, and it isn't going to be you. This is not classroom theory. I saw it happen. I saw it first in Berlin in 1932. 5 young men that I knew were standing in the crowd listening to the Nazi speaker. Eric was a Catholic. Anton, a student of mine, was a Jew. Heinrich owned a small hardware store. Karl was a farmer. And Hans was an unemployed metal worker.
To all Bavarian Germans, I say it is time you inherited the nation which rightfully belongs to you. To you alone belongs the glorious destiny of the Greater Germany. The Nazi Party will provide land for the farmer, work for the worker, and profits for the small businessman. Who is getting these things now? The Jew. The Jew who has stolen our nation and our birthright. Who makes all the money and takes all our jobs? The Jew! He must be shunned. He must be ostracized. He must be eliminated. And the Catholics. We don't want our great nation run by a foreign church. We Germans will know what to do with these people when the time comes. They and their faith must be destroyed. Then there are the Freemasons. In Germany, we have no place for secret societies. There may be only one society, and that is the Nazi Party. There may be no secrecy about that in the new Greater Germany.
One by one, he attacked each minority and he split them off one from the other. These men were all fellow Germans when they came here today. Now they were split into rival groups, suspicious of each other, hating each other. They were being swindled, all of them. But the man who was really being fooled was Hans. He was pure German, according to Nazi standards. To him they promised everything, and he fell for it. That's how Hans became a Superman. They gave him a uniform and they pumped up his ego. He wasn't just a little fellow out of work anymore. He was a member of the master race. Hans and thousands of others like him, all playing a sucker's game. They gambled with other people's liberty, and of course they lost their own. A nation of suckers. Hitler needed these people. There was lots of work to be done. There were trade unions to be smashed, because unions were organized and might offer resistance. There were many political parties in Germany. These the Nazis destroyed. They were determined to smash every organization where people might band together and resist them. There were Jews to be beaten and killed, The Jews were not powerful, but they were a convenient excuse for all the nation's ills. And besides, a Nazi party member could not take over this man's store. Hundreds of Catholics were put in jail because the Catholic Church had strength and could resist the Nazi drive for power. They had split the nation into 100 pieces, and then one by one, they had destroyed the pieces. Over these broken pieces, the Nazis rode into power. One party, one nation, one religion.
I think that's enough of it. Because I don't want to lose y'all. But man, the part where he said there is no other, he said we're all Americans, you know. At the, you know, it was like the man showed up at the meeting, the Germans, he was like they were all Germans before they, you know, the man was speaking. And then after the man was speaking, then they were like enemies. They all got splintered and broken apart. And the part where he said, like, you know, they broke it all into little pieces so they could conquer them. And in any organization or community, you know, unions or anything like that, they busted that up and destroyed that because it was a threat to their power. You know, they attacked the Catholics. You know, the reason why this stands out to me is because I see this happening again. It's happening. It's happening right now. You know, it's not in the same way, you know, but history repeats itself. It says history rhymes. So, and it's rhyming again right now, you know, and go ahead.
Because I think by listening to what they're saying, because this is actually a propaganda piece as well, but at the same time.
Oh, yeah, this isn't from 1947.
Okay.
Well, either way, I mean, it doesn't, I mean, whatever time period it's from, like, I think the lesson in it is that, you know, being controlled by things that, because, like, you know, I think we somewhat had a conversation you know, about how different people, you know, perceive the same thing. We're seeing the same thing, but perceive it differently. We really got to be careful that we don't just go into a narrative and believe it just because, you know, that's the narrative. You know, everything isn't racist. Everything isn't, you know, everything may not, well, no, everything is political, but like certain things you just can't, you know, it can be seen in different lights. So you need to adjust your eyes to be able to kind of see it when, you know, bright lights, dim lights, dark, you know, whatever it is, look at it a few different ways before you truly, you know, try to make a decision about something, especially when there's somebody trying to beat it upside your head that, oh, this is what it is. Don't pay attention to the other folks, you know, like to me, anytime somebody, you know, if they're not giving you an option to see it how you want, you know, how you see it, just give you enough information to make a decision, like they're trying to put you under their control.
Yeah, because like what he said, and the person who got swindled the most, he was like, in the part where he said, they're going to get something, but it's not going to be you. And he's like, the guy who got swindled the most was the guy who was sold on it, the whole thing.
His hands. Like
yeah.
Don't be a hands.
Yeah. And either one of us can easily be that, because you got like, what is the one, the Hebrew Israelite group, like, you know, and
oh my God.
So like it's really similar as far as like, you know, you're gonna get screwed because they're gonna tell you that you are the one that's supposed to get whatever the hell, and everybody else is not supposed to. Like you are a part of the proper group that's supposed to, you know, rule, and you're supposed to be in charge, and you're supposed to get all the splendors of the earth, and these other people aren't. So like you are going to be the one that's screwed the most. What do you say? Yeah, so I think that's what we have to focus on. We have to realize that, you know, we are together. We're a human race, you know. They can't conquer us when we're together, but when they split us up and have us fighting over this, that, and the other, trivial stuff, and put us in little bitty groups, and then that's how they conquer us.
We're conquered already. We're just trying to stop from being finished off.
Telling you, man. Telling you. So,
well, I think there's another way to see that as well, because I mean, we got governments fighting governments. It's not the people against the people. Like, that's one of the things I think that we need to, focus on more, is that, like, we are like, we have allowed certain things to happen that we shouldn't have, but at the same time, like, if we really pull together, like, I mean, because they're obviously trying to inflate or conflate a certain narrative, and instigate certain things between different people that really are having a similar experience, where, like, we're fighting against each other, where I didn't do anything to you and you didn't do anything to me, but because go ahead.
Okay, this is an argument that a lot of people have, and we actually had this on the other night on a show about, well, when are we going to choose this timeline? When are we going to choose this timeline? And the thing is, that shouldn't be the argument. What I'm trying to do, and what I'm trying to say, and stuff like that, is no one's trying to make an argument of move on. When it comes to reparations, when it comes about to this, to that, it's not about moving on. It's about moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. We need to stop worrying about this and that, and this person did this to this race, and all of this and all of it, and just go, okay, we don't want to move on. We want to recognize, we recognize this shit, it is fucked up, but how do we move forward for now? We may have to put a pin in that, but how can we move forward?
Yeah, how do we move forward from here? That's
together,
not
as individual units, not as all these split little groups.
Right.
How can we come together and unify on some base ideas where we get along, and then we know where we can move forward? Once you build the foundation of a house, that's how strong it is. That's what the Constitution is supposed to be. That is the foundation of our house. That tells us not what we can not do to each other. That tells us, and is supposed to tell us, what the government cannot do to us. And that's why that's what we're not following right now.
Let me read
We're
some
allowing
comments.
them to change that with little laws that favor the government. And I'll tell you, half of these big tech laws and all that stuff and things going on are more states' rights issues than national issues.
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, because a lot of people have gotten to the point to where each state now, the people believe that each state is different than what a country is. Like, a state and a country are really the same thing. It's just...
You heard me describe it as countries with an empire instead of states with a president earlier.
Yes. So, I mean, and I heard that, but but that's the thing that I think people are not realizing, because there's certain things that the federal government is not supposed to get into, but some people want to do that because I guess they feel like, as a whole, like, because sometimes, like in the beginning, like sometimes the fight that you have on your own, you can get further because you don't have a whole lot of interference. Like, so you take on the fight the best way that you can. But overall, I mean, when people are ready, they're going to join the fight. They're going to have their individual fight alongside of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like individualism isn't bad. It depends on how you're looking at it.
Like the video shows, they will join in the fight when the fight comes to them.
Well, we'll see, but that's
that's a problem.
But that fight has come to me since before I left high school. The fight came to me.
Well, see, but that's the thing. The fight has to come to everybody, because I mean, like, if it's not enough
there
for you to fight, if it's not enough for you to fight for, then
it's when you acknowledge it.
Yes.
Let me read some comments. This one, it says, the parallels to the current situation here in the USA is frightening. I wish more people would watch this and open their eyes about the things they're saying and doing right now. The othering, it's toxic and we're headed down a very dangerous road.
Yeah. Well, because see, let me say something, because I think a lot of people will identify one party or another to be the culprit, when actually both parties have a taste of that same thing, like that, trying to have a certain level of control. My thing is that, you know, really, like, us as a, you know, they can be parties out there, but for us, we shouldn't be identifying solely with just one party. Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense, especially in this day and time. But there's certain principles, because I know something, like for myself, I've been leaning more toward the Republican party than I have, you know, in the past, with, you know, when I went more along with the Democratic Party. And it's like, I'm seeing different things in them that, you know, the things that we're fighting over for Democrats is like, it's no need to fight over, and people look at them as being a problem. They seeing, you know, oh well, y'all don't care about this. Like, bro, like, if you really understood how these laws work, you understand that you're already protected. Like, but you identify personally as something different than just an American. You see yourself as an African American, or you've listed yourself somewhere else that puts you in a lower class than what you really are, when you yourself can say, I am American, not
you reduce your personal identity to the world.
Pretty much, yeah, based on how you think of yourself.
And you
choose to be less.
Well, you make yourself an other.
Yeah.
Let me read another comment. It says, chilling stuff, and it's a shame we're actually back in this position again after all that bloodshed and all those years to reflect. Let me read some more comments. This one, it says, quotation marks, you see, we human beings are not born with prejudices. Always they are made for us, made by someone who wants something. Remember that when you hear this kind of talk, somebody's going to get something out of it, and it isn't going to be you.
Damn, that sounds like a comment we heard earlier.
Well, that's straight from the video.
Anyone that starts out that says, well, we're not born with prejudices, makes me want to reach over and slap you.
And this
of
one, it
course,
says,
we're not born with prejudices. The very definition of prejudice is prejudgment. Prejudice is based upon your experience in the world. Nobody is born racist. You're not born prejudiced. These all happen from
everybody's
nurture, not nature.
Yeah, but no, everybody's not prejudiced though. Like, that's the thing. Like,
everybody is prejudiced. Not everybody is racist.
Well, and I totally agree with the racist thing.
Prejudgment based upon your past experiences and the things that have happened to you. When I came here to Houston, because of my negative experiences with the Black community, I was more wary of getting to know Black people and letting them in and being around and in their neighborhood.
Somebody was going.
And then I met the Hispanic community. And no offense to the Hispanic community here in Houston, but all of a sudden I was a lot less prejudiced about a different community, because I found out, well, it's not just one, but my experiences with one, being chased around, beat up, all that stuff, mostly, living in the South and being a lone white guy or hood honky, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, I had a prejudice, which I don't have anymore because I'm old enough and experienced enough, and I'm man enough to realize that was dumb shit. And those were the people that I remember from my life, and not like the mother of one of my bullies who literally drug him out by the ear and beat the shit out of him because he beat me up because I was white. You know, I mean, it's a scale, but prejudice is about things that have happened to you already, making it more difficult for you to move on.
Let me read a couple more comments.
Nobody has them when they're born.
Let me read a couple more comments. It says, "Hey, that fella is talking about me, and that makes a difference, doesn't it? Truer words have hardly been spoken." Let me read another comment. It says, "Legit appreciate that this film also takes the time to show how terrible it feels to be other-ed by the fascists. The way it shows the black and foreign people in the crowd looking genuinely afraid for their lives. I had heard of this film before, but I didn't realize just how raw and effective it is at showing the position that underpins fascism." Another comment, it says, "I'm so thankful my grandparents who fought for this very thing, unity, personal liberty, and freedom, passed away while America still resembled itself." Another comment, it says, "History never repeats itself, but it does rhyme." Mark Twain. Another comment, it says, "I'm staggered that so many people talk so big about this and completely miss the message." This one, it says, "It is interesting how human they made Hans. He's shown laughing, smiling, kissing his wife. They don't demonize him in the slightest. He's treated at worst as a man who's been conned."
That's why we know it's done in the modern day and not back in the 50s. Because back in the 50s, he would have been shown bullying his wife and being a master of the household and things like that. There's a lot of clues that it's been made in the last 10, 20 years. Definitely 1993 or later.
Possibly. I don't know. They got the scenery good, but you know,
Okay,
that's
well,
I don't put it past stuff like that. I don't put it past it because I've actually
First
seen
thing, if
a
you
whole
notice,
documentary on crisis acting. So
it's
like
it's a
all this stuff.
color. It is a color filmed video that we're seeing in black and white because the lighting and everything in it is made for color, not black and white, and you can tell by the brightness, the shadows, the makeup, and the composition and things like that.
Man, they had 4K back then. They just didn't want to tell you about it. No, just being silly. But
they invented this technology so they could do the moon landing next.
Yeah, because I think it is the same technology that did that. But I mean, but either way, man, let's not lose the point because the point is more so that in my perspective is that, you know, don't get locked in on one culprit. You know, if you make what you're doing exactly what they expect you to do, is, you know, you're making one side an enemy instead of, you know, actually seeing, like Doc would say, is the foundation that we have. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's you know, let's see where we, you know, where we are in you know, have our common you know, vision of the world, and you know, then we can kind of work on some of the other things. So if you're not doing that and you live, you know, especially if you move to this country from somewhere else, like, you really need to, you know, understand the fact that people are different, and it doesn't matter if you've been here, you know, your entire life or you've been here 6 months.
Why do you think people that legally immigrate here do so well? They come in, they look at it, you people are fucking crazy. I'm going to make money.
Let me
And
read
they
this.
do.
Let me read this comment. This is a nice comment. It says, "This was a great video. I had a whole comment written out. I deleted because I think most people totally are missing the point of this. Too many people are blindly following one side or the other and want to paint the other as bad no matter what the price is. The price will be our nation's freedom. Wake the F up, people."
Wow. Hey, it sounds like somebody who sees it the same way as I.
We're already starting to pay that price.
Yes.
FedNow is a big chunk of paying that price.
Oh my God.
It says, "This needs to be shown again in America. People have seemed to have forgotten."
Some people never saw it. Like I wonder, like I'm gonna actually go back. I'm gonna go send that to my dad. Just for him to be, because I don't think he's ever seen anything like that.
Let me read a little bit more. This one, it says, "I wrote a paper in high school, early 2000s, about how Hitler and Mussolini subverted their governments to take power. I closed the essay out with a paragraph about it makes one think how we could lose our democracy in America. My teacher wrote underneath, 'That can never happen in America. We have checks and balances,' with a smiley face. I'm pretty sure she didn't read the paper. I think she just checked to see if we wrote the citations correctly and used at least 3 different books and 1 newspaper article. Pretty sure she told us everything on the internet is made up too." So he's checks and balances, and I think that they have been not working. They have been. We're supposed to have checks and balances, but
there's the
falling apart.
checks. There's the
That's whole
checks, but
idea
no
of there being
balances.
That's the whole idea of there being a 3-party or a 3-system government.
Yeah.
The executive, the judicial, and the legislature.
Yeah, but still, that's not where that stuff really ends, because overall, like the checks is where like us as the people can call them on their bullshit, but we're not demanding the change, the balance, because we're still so much at war with each other that we don't get to like it's not enough of us on one issue, or the real main issues that we should be on, because we're too busy trying to organize with people that we because I mean, if we take care of core issues, it will resolve a lot of the other minor things that we had.
But we have to figure out what the base core is. We literally have to strip everything down to the bottom and go, we all agree here, we all agree here, we all agree here, we all agree here.
And we have to be honest to get to that point. And we also have to be able to start having the conversation with the person.
And that's a no compromise. We need to know no compromise from both sides.
And so the only way to get there is for people to be honest. And also the opposite sides have to have this honest conversation. The
can't
person
be
is
all emotional. Like that's the thing with I see too many people, getting emotional about certain things where they're getting locked in with the common narrative instead of like having like it's okay to have your own box that you kind of sit in, but when you really get into the when we're talking about worldly things that's affecting all of us, we got to at least open the lid of the box to allow people in and yourself out. Like you got to be able to be open-minded enough that you can see different angles, because if you start out saying that this is one way to do it and there's no other way, you're going to become a part of the problem because you're still not weighing out the other options.
Yeah, you are the problem.
If you stand on absolutes and you are a Christian, you are guilty of pride.
Let me read one more comment. It says, "Even in this film, we see that it only takes 30 seconds for the man to fire up delusion and trick the crowd into racism and false information. Yet it took a whole 16 minutes for the film to provide the truth and better judgment. Truly shows that a lie can travel halfway around the world before the truth puts on its shoes."
Wow. Yeah.
Once on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah, man. So y'all got any final comments? You still there, Deuce? Did you get to watch any of this video that I just played?
Yeah, I got to see bits and part of it. I was pumping fuel at the time, but yeah.
It's in the group chat if you want to go back and check it out. It's definitely worth a watch.
Man, I don't know, man. It's crazy, yeah. Those things still exist, but it's like I guess the question for me is like, how do we stop that same bad shit from repeating itself? Is there even such a thing as keeping history from repeating itself? Or do we need history to repeat itself to remind us where we come from and not to ever truly get relaxed?
Wow, that's a heavy one right there. But all that we've been saying, Doc, Deuce, Pat and Deuce, Doc, all we've been saying the last like 5 minutes or so have been ways to keep from it being this actually happening. All the stuff we were just saying, actually having the conversation, finding a base, finding the common ground, moving
and that's
forward
why
together.
You are always going to be bounced off the algorithm because we're trying to make sense.
And that's why I don't get views hardly. I get views now with the shorts, so but whatever. That's why I haven't been doing no editing, because I was doing all that fucking work and all I needed to do was do these damn shorts and I could get views that way. It's crazy.
We're working on closing out. Can I walk us out with some feel good something for a minute?
Go ahead, because I'm about to wrap it.
Please.
Because I'd like all of you to participate in this, and this is going to be a thought exercise and stuff like that. So walk with me on this one. If I gave you guys $1 million in cash right now, how would you feel?
If
what you say? How would you feel?
You giving each one of us $1 million?
If I gave you $1 million in cash right now, how would you feel?
I don't really know. Honestly, I see value in other things right now. But the $1 million would be, I think, would be a good. I would be wondering, okay, what you want me to do for it? What was
Where's the catch?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, no catch, no catch on the first one. We'll be talking about the catch next.
The $1 million would be great. The $1 million would be great, but me personally, $1 million cash is really worthless. It could change your life, but it's really worthless. How about you give me $1 million in assets or stocks and bonds or gold and silver that's gonna appreciate, that's gonna change my life significantly.
You can still use that million to buy it. I'm not limiting what you do with it. I'm just saying, if $1 million popped up, I don't have to give it to you. If all of a sudden $1 million popped up, you won a lottery, you got a bonus from a company, whatever, how would you feel?
I'd be pretty extremely happy.
I'll probably pass out. I would be numb for a little while. Yeah, I'd be numb for a little while because I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah, so we're saying we would feel good. That nothing would be able to bring us down for a little while. We'd be like, nothing would make us mad. All would be well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, instead of say $1 million, let's make it 10 million. But you didn't wake up tomorrow.
Ugh.
Now, would you take it?
No.
Nah, I'm good.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I just did this exercise, but
okay. So
but
don't spoil it. You know where I'm going.
I'm just gonna play along. Yeah, no, I wouldn't accept it.
So what we're saying is that just waking up every morning is worth more than $10 million, right?
It's worth more than any amount of money.
Okay, so I have a
Infinite
question.
money.
Why don't you feel like that every single day when you wake up?
Because of our prejudices.
Every day you
I
wake
do.
up. I don't have $1 million, but you know what? Today might be the day. And if not, well, hell, at least I'm here for it.
Every day that I wake up, man, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I may not be where I want to be in life, but I'm grateful because every day that God allows me to wake up and for me to sit up in my bed and walk to my bathroom to take a long piss, that's a day to make a difference in my life. That's a day to make a change. That's a step further to where I want to be, and where you want to be and who you truly are is deep down within. But sometimes it takes for you to go into that dark space. You have to go into that dark room alone, and tear down everything and that you thought or think that you are. You have to go into that space and be completely vulnerable, and let go and forsake those ways, those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions, and tap into who you truly are, because who you truly are is there. It's waiting to come out, but we don't take the time to tap into it. I'm guilty of it. It's
The only
there.
way to the
The
only way
better
to
that we
recognize
want,
light
everything
is
that
through
we strive
darkness.
for is there.
I think the point is to be
It's all
thankful,
there.
right? Because when I wake up, I do a lot of times. I'm like, man, I really got some good rest. I really, I'm thankful for that. Because sometimes I don't sleep well. So whenever I sleep well and I wake up, I'm like, oh man, I really got some good rest. I'm thankful for that, and that's usually like how I start off. But some days I don't get rest, and then I get up and I'll be like, oh man, I wish I would have got some better sleep, but most
But we
days I
become
get up.
who we say we are.
Yeah, so it's about being thankful, right? Because that's the point of the exercise. The thought exercise is to be thankful for your breath, to be thankful to be alive another
I
day.
woke up today. It doesn't matter how bad my life has been until this morning, because at least I always have a chance to do better. Of course, then I throw my legs over the side of the bed, stand up, and I begin to question if gravity is a myth or the earth just sucks.
Yeah. Well, you just like you have those people every time you see them, man. You like, hey, man, how you doing? Oh, brother, I'm just trying to make it. And it's like, man, you've been saying that for the last 10 years. I done passed by you, bro. Like you have manifest that. You trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? I strive at everything that I do, man. I try to make it habit. Whatever, and yeah, it's
It was a
about being
guy
thankful.
today at my job. We have a lot of regulars that come in there. It was a guy who sat at the bar, and he said, "Hey man, how you living?" And I said, "I'm all right." And then I walked away or whatever. And then I thought about it. I was like, "Man, I should have said I'm good." He said, "How you living?" I should have said good. And I am feeling good about my life right now. Like a lot of things are kind of falling into place for me, and all of the striving and struggle and like grinding that I've done over the years it's starting to bear fruit in my life, and like I'm seeing it
Manifest.
and it's manifesting. I can see it. And so when he asked me, because it really kind of struck me, because later on I was thinking about it for a while. I was like, my natural reaction usually is I'm doing all right, or
what
we're dismissive when the customer.
That's a part of the program. That's a part
it's
of
a
our
program. I'm
It's
like
about them, not us.
and I'm like anything above
Deflecting
ground
is what it's called.
type stuff, or I can't complain is another thing I tend to say. I can't complain. You know, it's just the comments that I make.
Listen,
I should have said I'm
better,
good.
but I'm happy to wake up today.
I'm wonderful.
I should have
I
said
am
good. He said, "How are you living?" I should have said
highly
good.
favored.
That's simple, really simple.
Yeah, you gonna say yeah. I mean that is.
How you
I mean,
living?
saying,
Good.
Yeah, I'm good because I mean, regardless of how you feeling, guiding is speaking. You know what I'm saying? In order to create things, the way you speak is what determines how your life turns out. So, you know, that whole idea of, because this is the law of attraction, the law, which is laws of the universe, speaking it into existence is a thing. So if you continually day after day say the same thing, and it's, you know, it don't even have to necessarily be negative. It can just be just low spirited. Like you're not gonna get.
If you begin to say it without intention, it's a resonance. It's no longer a choice. It's a rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no.
So we should be
People
thankful.
ask me how you doing. I literally look them in the eye and say, "Well, I'm awake and I'm here. Everything from there is negotiable."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So we should just say, I'm good. I'm alive. I'm breathing. It's another day. It's a beautiful day. The sun is, you know, the earth is rotating. You know, I'm good.
Woke up on the right side of the ground.
Be a
Exactly.
creator. The main thing is be a creator. Is my point on from what you're saying. It would be more so to you know, even if your life doesn't feel that great, I would say, you know, you take the opportunity. It's not being boastful or whatever. It's really you trying to uplift yourself, and the only way to do that is to speak positive about your life on every angle. So
every day is another opportunity for you to make it right. If you're not here no more, then you can't fix nothing no more.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I realized that I'm not that good of a server. I'm about average. But what I'm really good at is being an entertainer that takes orders and brings food to the table.
Bro, that's what makes you a good server.
Ever since I realized that, I actually work less hours. They keep cutting my friggin' hours, but I make the same amount as I did with less hours per week. And I don't feel like I'm at work all the time. I don't feel like I'm working half the time.
Yeah.
It just stops me from being at home, which is annoying because I'm kind of a little agoraphobic.
I agree with that, Doc. I agree with that completely. But I wanted to make this comment because, like, me and Doc is in the service industry and we wait tables.
So am I.
But that's where I was going. So you guys, Deuce and Pat, y'all are, you know, drive trucks, but y'all are basically doing the same thing that we are doing. You know what I'm saying? Basically.
Bro, it is. So, bro, I don't see anything different with it at all. Like I've done, you know, I've actually worked as like a technically, you know, as a server in restaurants and stuff like that, and I've worked in other like jobs. No matter what, I mean, and even more so when you have your own business, like you are working for the public. You're working for like you know, whoever the customer, whoever's paying, that's who you're working for. So
and you're serving them.
I'm providing a service. I have a delivery service. You know, it's somewhat to a high end because I do hazmat and things like that. But my interaction with the people where I pick up these loads and the people where I deliver the loads, like I am presenting my company and representing them, you know, every time I go to a new facility. So having a smile, you know, having just basic conversation with the people like
being
that.
personable.
Yes, like all of that stuff matters. It's no difference. You
Yeah,
know,
I think it's important.
I might not be serving up a plate of food, but I am serving the community or these corporations that is willing to pay for me to pick up a load and deliver.
And I think it's important for us to actually, mentally understand what we're doing. We're serving people. That's what we're doing, and so there's many different ways to do that, but ultimately it's the same thing.
My job is to make your life better, even if only for a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think that should be like a common thing, regardless if it's through a job or even just the way that we interact with each other on a personal level, is to try to uplift each other. Period. Take the moments that we have with each other to try to, because if you're in a bad mood and I'm in a good mood, like, why shouldn't I share that good spirit with you and try to help you change or turn some of that stuff around? Like, it just, I think that being personable is not something that should just end when technically, say I'm clocking out.
Right.
But no, that should be a way of life. That
Okay,
is who you
Chaka,
are.
how many of these mercenary piece of I'm not going to say at your current job, but I'm going to say that we have worked with over time literally would not pee in your mouth if your gums were on fire unless you gave them a tip.
Yeah, lots.
I mean, this industry is so full of people who literally do not care as long as they get their money.
Right. And I think that, we have to be more aware of, like, we forget a lot, like, because we say stuff like, I'm trying to find the right words without being offensive, but
that table is a bunch of Canadians. Be careful.
Yeah, or whatever. Like, you're in traffic.
I know what that is, but they don't.
All the cars are in your way, so you wish that the cars weren't there or whatever. But it's like, it would be no point in doing anything if it wasn't other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're on a desert island by yourself, then you're what's the point of doing anything? So it's like our connections to other people, how we our interactions with other people is everything for us as humans. You know what I'm saying? We can't. It would be no point in anything if it wasn't no other people.
But look at it like this. I mean, all right, let's just say, like, a lot of us, we're putting on a show when we're at work. So, okay, that can go uncounted. But just out here in the world, the way we interact with people really is how we're being judged by the universe, by God, by whatever entity that we want to say, or even by ourselves, because I mean, to ourselves, because really we're our own gods. Each one of us are, representations of God. But the main point I think people need to get is that, like, if you believe in a higher power and karma and this, that, and the other, like, your basic interaction with people should mean more to you than, whatever performance you're giving at,
because that's what makes you happy, really. That's what makes you happy. Because when you feel satisfied with yourself, that you did the right thing, that you were good, that you made somebody else smile, you made somebody else's day.
Everybody believes in karma till it runs over their dogma.
So your happiness comes from giving happiness to others.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
I know that's where I feel the most joy is when I can help somebody, in all kinds of situations. Even when it's, whether it's giving money,
just a conversation,
a kind word,
yeah,
giving them a different perspective that's gonna help them, make decisions that they're going to be happy with for themselves. I mean, regardless of how it is, like, we need to continue to be givers, and that's something that I think that we've lost. And or even like because if you're the same party affiliation, or we think the same kind of way, that's the only way we really want to offer it up, instead of like that being something free to give to any and everybody, so that you can actually make it, give some effect. Because I mean, just think about how people, if they already prejudged you about one thing, and you show them something totally different, just being just who you are, that's going to help the world see that, hey, you know what, I'm obviously wrong,
Right?
Because this is my personal interactions doesn't prove that this is true.
And that's literally how I live my life. That's literally how I
I
live.
wish people would continue to prove me wrong, like really wrong.
Yeah.
God, I hope so about so many things.
Because I'm so pessimistic that I be wanting to be wrong. I'd rather be wrong. I really rather be wrong.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Anyways, I'm gonna have to wrap it. Don't leave, dude. Stay for a moment after the show, because we still chop it up in the room. When I end the show, we still be in the room. Don't leave. Stay in, Deuce. So peace and love. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Yep. Thanks for coming out, guys.